Texas, since 1908.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Yes, indeed, it is the Get Right here on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. I'm Reginald Datatula alongside the fan phenom Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Shout out to Rodrigo Mendoza on the ones and twos. Chris Arnold will be joining us at some point during the program. We appreciate you rocking with us. Like I said, on 105.3 The Fan, however you are listening, wherever you may be listening, we appreciate you riding with us, whether it's the Odyssey app, YouTube, 105.3 The Fan, search 105.3 The Fan on YouTube, or hit us on twitch.tv/DallasFanCam. You can catch us there as well. We're with you to 11 p.m. right here on the Get Right, and we'll get you caught up on what's happening around the DFW, as currently your Mavs are in Washington, the nation's capital, handling business against the Wizards. We'll break that down here shortly. And also, we've got a good show for you, just letting you know that. You can always get involved with the program by texting into the truckwreck.com text line, 877-881-1053. Again, that number is 877-881-1053. But we begin this evening by talking about your Dallas Cowboys. We're just over halfway through the season, and, these Cowboys have handled themselves very well. They're heading into an interesting time of the season. I believe it's 3 games in about 12 days is what we're looking at here. And so what's happening here is, the Cowboys are really setting themselves up for success. This is a stretch run of games that I guess people would consider like easier games, Blake.
Trap games, if you will.
Well, some people would disagree with those assertions. But regardless, right, this is a team that obviously needs to finish out the season incredibly well, and then also give themselves an opportunity to go out and play really good football down the stretch and into the postseason, because that's ultimately what people care about. And so with that being the case, I wanted to ask this question: which players on this Cowboys team are going to be the most vital for the remainder of the season? And can I start here, Blake? Because
go ahead.
I think that one note that's really important to talk about within this is Leighton Vander Esch.
Yep.
We recently just got the news that he is going to miss the remainder of the season with that neck injury.
On this station. Yeah,
absolutely. He was talking to Jerry Jones on the Sean and RJ show in the morning. They asked him point blank, and he gave that confirmation that, Leighton Vander Esch will miss the rest of this year, but he's also having to make these decisions about whether or not he's going to continue playing football in general. I mean, you have multiple injuries on a neck like he did, and that brings you to a place where you have to consider something else, right? Like, you have to consider if this is worth the potential long-term damage to your body. So when it comes to that, Leighton Vander Esch is missing time. So for me, one of those players that's going to matter a lot is Marquise Bell, who's been playing linebacker in his stead, and obviously was playing linebacker before, right? Once he moved from that safety room to linebacker once DeMarvion Overshown was lost in the preseason, and he's been so good in that role alongside Damone Clark. And so I think those two are super important, not just because their play has to be high, even when you get to playing the tough teams in this league, like when you're going to rematch against the Philadelphia Eagles, but then also you've lost depth, right? The idea was Leighton Vander Esch on the IR was one thing. You had to get through a certain stretch of time. Now, when you were looking for the idea of, is he going to come back? Now that he's not coming back to add another linebacker in that linebacker room, now you're depending on the likes of Rashaan Evans and other practice squad guys that you've brought in. And so it's really incumbent not only that Marquise Bell and Damone Clark stay playing well, but also, and this is something that I don't know that you can necessarily plan for or necessarily make happen by will, they're going to have to find a way to stay healthy as well.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. The biggest thing is going to be depth. If they can stay healthy, I like the Damone Clark and Marquise Bell combo. Listening to their interviews, they both said that they are highly capable of helping each other out. One, as you said, came in playing safety, other a little bit more on that front seven. So there's different things that they're good at and have pros and cons, and they both have been able to kind of attack those weak points of each other's games and help each other build up. And the best thing that I heard from the press conferences is Leighton's still around the locker room. He's there on the Cowboys facility. He's going to be like another coach on the sideline, another set of ears, another guy out there. So as much as I want to say it's going to hurt, because it will, because of how big of a leader Leighton was, if depth doesn't come into it, if we have no more injuries, I still feel good with this linebacking core. But like you said, I don't know if practice squad guys are going to cut it come close to the end of the year when attrition comes at you.
Yeah, and somebody on the truckwreck.com text line mentioned or asked, is Jabril Cox still on the team? And no, if you remember, Jabril Cox was one of those players that was cut on the ultimate cut down to 53 at the start of the season. It was one of those kind of surprising but not surprising cuts, because Jabril Cox was a draft pick that people were constantly waiting to have an opportunity to get on the field a little bit more.
Myself included. I loved him at Michigan.
Did he play at Michigan?
I believe so.
Because I know they drafted him out of LSU, but I know that he transferred to LSU. I can't remember off the top of my head where he had played prior. But Jabril Cox was kind of like a coverage linebacker even when he was drafted, and it seemed like he was not capable of playing as big as they needed him to as a linebacker, which is kind of, I don't want to say funny, but it's kind of interesting in retrospect, because you have somebody like Marquise Bell, who is a safety, who in theory would kind of profile the same, but he has played big. He has gotten into those running lanes and used his physicality in this system. So no, Jabril Cox isn't on the team, and I do wonder if he's out there available to be signed. But I imagine the Cowboys are comfortable with the linebackers that they have right now, and that's what all that we've heard thus far, is that they're comfortable with the linebackers they have right now. We'll see if ultimately they then go and scour and see if there's anybody that add on the practice squad later that they maybe then also utilize kind of those call-ups available to them. But it seems like for the time being, it's Damone Clark, Marquise Bell, and maybe Rashaan Evans factoring in. But those are the guys that I'm looking at as being super vital going on through the second half of this Cowboys season.
Yeah, you're right. LSU for Mr. Jabril. I got the Michigan Cup right here. Caught me off guard. So my question is, I know where I want him, but I know the fans also are like, Micah's played linebacker. Do you slot him back and kind of have him as a hybrid guy to kind of help that linebacking core, or do you just keep him at DN and do what's working right now? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, we've had this conversation many a times at this point, and it seems very clear that what you want is that elite level pass rusher rushing the passer. Now, of course, some of the instances, and you want to have him be able to move around. Some of the instances you'll have him off ball linebacker. But even then, there's still a good amount of the time that you have him, that you're maybe blitzing him or having somebody on the line drop out in coverage. You still want to utilize him in that way where he's rushing the passer. You're just going to use it from different slots. But for you, Blake, who is one of the more vital Cowboys for the remainder of the stretch with this season for you?
Great question. To be completely honest, it's going to be Tony Pollard. I think the offense has been amazing. We had the most 40-point games this year with 3 of them, couple coming in recent times. But if you cannot get the rushing attack going, it doesn't matter. Because when you go against a Philadelphia, a San Francisco, those teams both have great rushing defenses and can get to the pass rusher. So you're not going to be able to sling the ball all over the field. Now, obviously, Dak does well against Philly, especially at home. But I think when it comes to a late playoff push, you're going to have guys that can rush the ball, especially when you get up in games and you want to keep the ball away from a Jalen Hurts, away from a Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel. You got to be able to run the ball there. So as much as we love the explosive scoring points, quick, myself included, you got to be able to manage the clock. Keep your defense who's injured off the field. And how do you do that? With a good, efficient run game. And if Tony Pollard can't find things clicking, I would love to see Rico Dotto, like he's been doing, keep stepping up. But I mean, all encompassing the run game, whoever it is, I don't really care as long as the Cowboys run game can come to fruition in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I agree that you're going to need some modicum of a run game available to you. I don't know that it's necessarily going to be the ways that we had discussed in the offseason and at the beginning of the season, and that your head coach, Mike McCarthy, had discussed in a way where he's like, we want to run the football and, really control time of possession, things of that nature. But I do think that it needs to be effective. Now, the tough thing about that is, I don't know that I say that that's a Tony Pollard issue in specific. And we've discussed how sometimes his vision isn't exactly what you want. I think that points to the guys on the offensive line. So I'm talking
100%.
I'm talking about Tyler Smith. I'm talking about Zach Martin. I'm talking about Tyler Biotish, and of course Tyron, and of course the one that everybody's going to talk about is Terrence Steele.
Steel boy.
For me, when it comes to that, if they could find a way to get to the second level with their run blocks as well, because one thing at least, and of course, Giants game is one game, but over the course of the season, it does feel like this team has had a little bit of and I'm offensive line in particular when I say this team, has had a little bit of issues, not just getting and sustaining their blocks, but then blocking up to the second level. And that's the thing that really helps spring big runs. Now, you've seen Rico Dowdle run aggressively, but even then, like, you still need your blockers to get upfield and get into the second level, and that's where you have opportunities to make real big chunk plays in the run game. So if those guys can play better, I think that would help the run game. But even then, those guys are also going to be necessary as this team has leaned very heavily into passing the football. Those guys are still necessary. Keeping Dak Prescott clean. He's used his mobility to help himself, but help himself as well by keeping him clean in the pocket.
Do you think that the Cowboys can make it all the way to an NFC Championship game with a lackluster run game? Do you think the passing game is elite enough that even with a lackluster league average running game, which is kind of where we're at right now, can make it to the deep in the postseason?
That feels like a tough sell. But the thing that you think about is this is a very good defense, and that question then becomes, how good can Dak Prescott play consistently? And I guess that's the answer we're here, right? To one of the questions that we're asking when we talk about who are going to be the most important players in this Cowboys team going through the rest of the season. The answer is Dak Prescott, I guess, right? Easy enough. Talk about the quarterback where you talk about football. You have a lot of the discussions of what's happening. Dak Prescott's ability to play at this high level is what has made the run game, or the lack thereof, less of an issue for you in this time period. And so if Dak Prescott can play at this level he's playing at right now, sure, right? We've seen teams go very far with a less than stellar run game, not a completely absent run game, but a less than stellar run game because the quarterback is playing at a high level. And as of right now, Dak Prescott's playing like one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the league at this moment over the last, 3-4 weeks. And so with that being the case, if he can sustain this level of play, which I'm not sure is reasonable or fair, but if that is the case, sure, they can make a deep run because then you see, maybe even short game or, quarterback scrambles being somewhat a substitute for the run game as well. You know what I mean? That's the way that I envision it in a vacuum. But obviously you don't want that to have to be the case. You don't want Dak Prescott to have to carry everything on his shoulders. And I imagine that there's people that are not necessarily Dak supporters, that are maybe like Dak critics, that would say you don't want those on his shoulders because you don't anticipate that he can do this forever. And that's probably fair.
You want to be able to support that. And I think Dak can continue this pace he's on if the run game can turn up like we all are kind of hoping will at some point bust through. If they can complement that with a Rico Dowdle carries here and Tony Pollard carries here and some touchdowns to relieve, I think we might see even better numbers from Dak. Now, it might not be more passing yards, but better completion percentage.
Which is going to be hard to do because his completion percentage is
number one.
Crazy right now.
70%.
Yep.
So what is your confidence level these next 3 games? Obviously, the Panthers have one of the worst defenses in the league. Commanders kind of middle of the road towards the bottom. And then obviously the Seahawks got stars all over their defense. Witherspoon, the spoon over there. So these next 3 weeks, what is your confidence level that the Cowboys can kind of continue this pace up?
I mean, at least the next couple of games, I feel very confident. And we'll get there over time. Look, we're here. Get right. 7 to 11 p.m. every weeknight on the Fan. I guess outside of Cowboys programming, that might take that first hour like today. But I know I feel good about this team and the way that they're playing currently, and especially because Dak Prescott, like, you can see schematically the ways that it's benefiting and the ways that he is playing confidently and being protective of the ball. I know that Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, was asked after the game this week what has been impressed him the most with Dak Prescott's play right now, and it's been decision making. And those are the things that have been constants for him over, a long period of time outside of the abnormal season that he had last year. And it seems like there's a lot of confidence and there's a building trust with him and his wide receivers. And in that way, if we're talking about folks that are going to be important to the latter portion of this season, hello, CeeDee Lamb. Because if CeeDee Lamb continues to be a world beater,
tier 1,
like he is right now, that makes everything easier. That's the types of things that bends defenses, right? Those are the types of things that a defensive coordinator comes into a game week saying,
game wrecker.
where's 88 on the field, and we have to lean our defense to him or consider those things. And those are the types of things that, obviously, Brandon Cook should be involved, but those are the types of things that will maybe help him even, give more of these types of performances that you saw. Those are the types of things that should hopefully help Michael Gallup have less attention and hopefully allow him to play better. Like, those are things that make it better for everybody else when CeeDee Lamb is playing at a high level. And it seems like over the last 3 weeks in particular, him and Dak Prescott have had a crazy connection, including one of those plays, for Dak Prescott in this game against the Giants. We find out, afterwards that he's trying to throw the football away, but because CeeDee Lamb is on such a different level and then also understands what his quarterback is going through and seemingly has like ESP with him, he comes back and catches what is supposed to be a thrown away ball, and he comes and catches it for completion, right?
He had 2 of those. One he didn't catch in the back of the end zone that was almost a touchdown, and then obviously the one where he stuck his tongue out and caught it on the sideline. So I agree. That rapport is, I don't know if they went out to dinner together, Nick and Sam's, they went on a playground date, something. They are on a different level. I'm going to read out the stat for you. Dak Prescott leads the league in passer rating against man coverage by 15 points ahead of Patty Mahomes. And I credit that to the receivers. I credit that to Dak scrambling and knowing how to get out of positions. And like you said earlier, his decision making, it doesn't seem like he's thinking as much as we've seen in recent years. It seems like he has a thought in his head. This guy's open. Ball's going to him, 3-step drop. Or this guy's not open, I'm scrambling and I'm looking for 88 or Brandon Cooks down the field. I just feel a lot more confident in his recent plays since that 49ers game. The 49ers game might have been the best thing that could have happened to us. We got knocked in the teeth.
That is definitely a take.
We got knocked in the teeth, and we've been a different team since. I felt very good after that Philadelphia loss. That was probably the best I felt after a loss, and I really liked how this team has turned it around since.
And so those are some of the team players that we are anticipating are going to be the most important for the second half. And before we go, I want to put one more guy in here. DaRon Bland.
Ball hawk.
Continue to turn the ball over, but I think more than anything, the ways in which he's played, the turnovers are great and they're necessary because, you win the turnover margin, you're almost guaranteed to win a football game in the NFL. But on top of that, I think from a national scope, especially folks that weren't super familiar with DaRon Bland, even though he had a whole bunch of interceptions as a rookie last year, if you weren't super familiar, you see Trayvon Diggs go down with an injury and you go, that's their best cornerback. What are they going to do? Our team's going to target the next man up. And what's been abundantly clear is the answer is you can't do that, right? You can't say DaRon Bland's over there, he's the mark we're going to throw at him, because do that at your own peril. The ball will be going the other way very shortly. And so his impact is huge, and him continuing to play like a starting cornerback on the outside, which he has done.
More than just a starting cornerback.
Completely. Yes, absolutely.
He's been playing out of his mind this year, but continue.
Yeah, no. And so him continuing to play at that level, I think, is going to be increasingly good for this, because it ends up being that symbiotic relationship we know between front and back of defense. And if these guys are playing at a high level, that's going to be huge for the Cowboys defense.
And like I said this yesterday, I am so excited for this next year team not to look too far ahead, but like, you're going to have a Trayvon Diggs, DaRon Bland, fully seasoned, both in, what are they going to be in their 3rd and 4th year, respectively, each. Having them 2 ball hawks out there. I don't know if Gilly's going to come back. I know he's towards the end of his tenure, so whether we re-sign Gilly or get another corner. But if you have those 2 ball hawks out there, any quarterback that's not named maybe Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers is going to have a tough time throwing the football against them. So I think the future for this Cowboys looks up and up every year. All of our key players, whether that be offense or defense, are young. They're like under 26. We have one of the best young teams in the league, and it's something to look forward to. The Cowboys are both top 10 in rushing attempts and passing attempts, balanced attack. Like I said earlier, most 40-point games. What's it called? Dak is 3rd in quarterback rating right now. Number 1 in completion percentage. So they're doing all the things right that they need to do to truck along. It's just can't get caught in the minutia. It is just the regular season, and we all know what Cowboys fans want. It's that postseason.
100%. But those are the players that we believe will be the most important going through the second half of the Cowboys season. Of course, Cowboys will face off against the Carolina Panthers this weekend. Wow. The 1-8 Carolina Panthers. That's a very interesting sound effect that you just did. We're just going to go ahead and clip that for me, please. Thank you very much. But it is indeed the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, your Dallas Mavericks get a win in Washington. How they do it. Talk about it next on 105.3 The Fan.
All day, every day, bringing you insights and information no one has right here on The Fan and on the Odyssey app.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
All health insurance is not the same. At Aetna CVS Health, we're built differently. Our individual and family plans bring together the quality health coverage of Aetna and convenient local care options. That means you have access to a network of doctors and hospitals you trust right in your neighborhood. It also means $0 preventive care, $0 virtual care, and with us, $0 in-network walk-in clinic visits. This is health insurance done right. At Aetna CVS Health, healthier happens together. Learn more at aetnacvshealth.com. Exclusions and limitations apply. Visit our website for details.
Owner-operators, are you grossing $14,000 per week?
tell you firsthand to go to the Diamond Factory. They are the only jewelry showroom with an on-site diamond cutting factory in the U.S. Exquisite diamonds, both natural and lab grown. No pressure environment with true gemologists and experts to help you choose the best piece for your budget. Eliminate the middleman and save money. The Diamond Factory near the Galleria, or shop online at thediamondfactory.com.
There's nothing like football season, and this year, fans in the Metroplex can listen to University of Texas football free. Catch every Longhorns game live with KRLD News Radio 1080, free on the Odyssey app. Every touchdown, every tackle, every win, all right here. To get started, download the Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY, and search for KRLD. Available for Dallas-Fort Worth listeners only.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Frankel & Frankel. Life is unpredictable and accidents happen. Frankel & Frankel are the go-to attorneys for car and truck wrecks in the DFW. And if you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, contact Frankel & Frankel for a free consultation at truckwreck.com or call 214 or 817-333-3333.
It's the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Datatula, fan phenom winner Blake Elliott sitting in with me.
Talk to me.
Rodrigo on the ones and twos. Appreciate you rock with us on a Wednesday night here in the Metroplex. You can always get involved with the program, 877-881-1053, where you guys have been getting involved. Appreciate you guys giving us the heads up. Jabril Cox is actually on the Commandos right now. And before he got transferred to LSU, where he was drafted out of, he had previously gone to North Dakota State.
There you go.
I knew that he had gone to maybe a smaller school. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. We appreciate you guys getting involved with the program on 105 through the Fan. Someone from the 214 says, this is the 2016 DAC, just the effort mentality.
I like it.
Where, I mean, look, man, in 2016, the one thing I will say is different. 2016 was very apparent. They were leaning on Ezekiel Elliott and the run game and this offensive line that was a monster, moving people. This year, they're very much more leaning on him and his abilities as a quarterback as of right now. And over the last month, it's really paid off for these Dallas Cowboys. But here on the Get Right, we love keeping up with hoops in this program. We love talking about hoops, and one of those hoops games that was happening tonight was your Dallas Mavericks on the road, the third game of a 4-game road span, and it was a win against the lowly Washington Wizards. The
EYBL Wizards.
Go ahead and explain that for the folks.
So if you don't know, high-level basketball, Nike has an EYBL tournament every summer for the best basketball hoopers in the world. A summit. They go to Vegas. They travel all around and compete against other teams of the likes of.
And this is all prep. These are all prep high school players.
Yes, these are all the top of the line guys. Adidas has theirs, but EYBL is the common term for not playing with the best structure and just kind of having guys that can quote unquote hoop and get a bucket. A lot of ISO ball. So if you watch the game tonight, you'll see a lot of Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma. Not a lot of ball movement. I will say I saw some back cuts. I saw one or two back cuts in there tonight, but in general, they are the fastest team in the NBA. They kind of like to push the pace, so I called them the EYBL Wizards.
Yeah, I imagine Wes Unseld Jr. might take a little offense to that, but you know what? He didn't really have a leg to stand on as your Dallas Mavericks whoop the Washington Wizards 130-117. Luka Doncic back to a little bit more of what we expect from him, 26 points, 10 assists. 3 turnovers, so still a few turnovers, but not nearly the 8 that he had last game. 7 of 18 from the field. Of course, Kyrie Irving doesn't play in this game. He had the foot, that foot injury, the foot soreness continues to be there for him, and so that's a nagging injury, and he misses this game, which is the second night of a back-to-back. First of all, before we even talk about this game any further, Blake, how concerned are you when it comes to that Kyrie Irving injury?
I'm not really that concerned with it. It's something that has nagged him throughout the season, of course, but it is so early in the season. If he can kind of get that right and do the rehab, he knows his body better than anyone else does it, better than I do talking about it. So he knows what to get with the coaching staff, heal it up. I think he'll be fine moving in, especially when they come home on Sunday. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It was a Wednesday night in Washington against the Wizards, so I'm fine with him sitting out a game like this.
Yeah, and you kind of have to be because it's Kyrie Irving. All right, so when it comes to concern for me,
let's hear it.
I'm not concerned in the large way of, is he not going to be with the team? But the thing that you have to remember when it comes to Kyrie Irving, he misses games.
Oh yeah,
like Kyrie.
So do most players. So do most good players.
Sure, but you say that, and this is a little bit different. Like he has some injury things with him. Now I'm not talking about major injuries, but he's going to have nagging injuries that are going to make him miss maybe 10, 15 games, if not a few more a season. And so this is kind of par for the course when you have Kyrie Irving in these instances. However, not needed in this game. You have a really big game from like Luka Doncic has mentioned. Derrick Jones Jr. also having a big game, 20 points. 8 of 11 from the field, knocks down 2 3-pointers, rebounds as well. And we were kind of talking, Blake, about Derek Lively, and I would like to welcome into the program the OG, Chris Arnold, who's joined us off of Cowboys Crosstalk. Derek Lively seems to be, as we were just talking on the other side about the most important Cowboys. Do you believe Derek Lively might be like the most important Maverick to this team this year?
I think you hit the hammer on the nail, Reg. He is the most important Maverick. Now, obviously, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are the most talented guys that are going to sell the jerseys, get people in the stadium. But when you're at a Mavs game or watching it on TV, Derek Lively is the centerpiece to this team. What did they not have last year? Defense, rebounding, couldn't stop the pick and roll, couldn't get anything down low. Now you have Derek Lively, who's 7'1", wingspan that can touch both sides of these walls in this studio right now, can block shots. Also, I saw early deflecting passes. We didn't have any of that last year. And now we got 2 other wings in a Derrick Jones Jr., a Grant Williams. So when you combine all those guys together, when their fusion is that synergy is starting to get there, offense I was never worried about, but the defensive side of the ball is picking up. We're top 10 in defensive rating. I couldn't be happier as a Mavs fan.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm not gonna say he's the most important guy. I'm gonna say he solves a lot of problems, but more importantly, this is what's scary. He's only gonna get better. He's only gonna get better. He's working with Tyson Chandler on a regular.
CA, how old is he?
27, Derrick Jones Jr.
No. How old is Derek Lively?
Derek Lively, sorry.
He's like 19.
19.
He's 19 years old.
I think people forget that.
He's only going to get better. And the thing that's wild is he and Tyson Chandler on the same page. He was telling me that they've got he didn't know anything about Tyson Chandler until people started comparing to him after they got drafted. He got drafted. He was like, wait a minute, I got to find out who this dude is. Next thing you know, he meets him, finds out they get along great. That's like his new big brother.
Yep.
They have tattoos that kind of match up a little bit, not the same tats, but he's got like sleeved on one on his right arm and on his left leg, and same with Tyson Chandler. It's like, you got to be kidding me. So Tyson Chandler is coaching him up and showing him what he can be. The only thing he's got to worry about right now, like I said, it's going to be scary when he gets even better. Right now, all rookies get into foul trouble.
Yep.
And it's not even the way he plays. It's the fact that other teams know how to challenge rookies and get the call.
He's had some foul trouble. Like, fouls have been his issue.
Don't get me wrong. He knew that, though. This is where I'm going with it. I'm not saying he's being picked on. I'm saying Tyson Chandler told him, be aware of this. Because you are a rookie, you're going to make mistakes. And even if you have your hands straight up, down, just like that, straight up, they're going to go with the veteran every time. So, again, he's done some stupid rookie things, which is why when people were shocked, oh, my God, how come Jason Kidd didn't start him the first game? We were expecting that. He said, I want to keep him out of foul trouble. But these are the same critics who were saying, wait a minute, this guy is probably going to start off in the G League. Oh, wait a minute, Jason Kidd is saying in the preseason, well, he's looking good in camp, and he might actually start again. How come he didn't start? Let the coach coach. This is the same coach that coached Giannis. So I'm just saying, let the man grow up. He's not Wemby. But guess what?
He's better than him.
He's going to solve a lot of their problems. And that's all I got to say. I'm not going to say he's the most important player. I'm just saying he's going to solve a lot of their problems. And right now, he's a rookie making rookie mistakes. And there are going to be times where he's not going to be frustrated because Tyson Chandler saying, they don't call that stuff on you.
And you know this, CA, me and you both being at Mavs practices, they are glued next to each other at practice.
That's his big brother.
Tyson, everywhere he goes, he wants to walk and get a Gatorade. He's right there next to him. He's doing a drill right there next to him. Shooting free throws after practice. They are glued next to each other. And as a Mavs fan, you can go back to 2011. Why was that championship won? Tyson Chandler. You had a defensive anchor. You had a guy that could catch lobs. So obviously we're seeing a resemblance with Derek Lively. So I don't think you could ask for anyone better to mentor him.
Yeah, Derek Lively himself is going to be helpful for them if he can progress to a place where he's not committing those fouls, where he's staying on the court, and if he can handle those defensive responsibilities against the elite of the elite. that'll be really helpful for them. It's a tough task for a rookie in year one, but I think in this game, obviously where your Mavericks defeat the Wizards 130-117, your leading scorer is not Luka Doncic.
Nope.
It is Tim Hardaway Jr. 31 points, got up 20 shots because Timmy's going to take his shots.
Oh, he's going to shoot.
But 7 of 11 from the three-point line.
Always open.
Tim Hardaway Jr. this year has been a very interesting player to me because last year he scores maybe like 12 points a game off the bench in a similar role. But one thing that was very evident right off jump for this team is that when he comes in off the bench, he has the greenest light that there could be. And as of right now, he is knocking down shots. Can y'all see a world? And it's very early. We are 12 games into the season, a 9-3 Mavs team. However, can y'all see a situation where Tim Hardaway Jr. wins Sixth Man of the Year?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I got to look at the rest of these rosters. But at the same time, what was probably going to slow him down is sometimes when he's cold, he's very cold.
Mm-hmm.
But what's helpful for him coming off the bench, he's so effective with Luka Doncic allowing him to catch and shoot. And usually when he was coming off the bench with the second unit, well, he would struggle because he tried to dribble too much or try to create his own shot. What's happening is they're using him when Luka sits down, Kyrie's still in. Or when Kyrie's out, Luka's still in. So there's somebody who can facilitate for Tim Hardaway Jr., find him where he does not have to do anything other than catch and shoot. So maybe he will have more longer stretches where he'll be hitting all these shots. And again, notice right now, nobody's talking about trading away Timmy. Even though he still could be trade bait by trade deadline. And I only bring that up because when Jason Kidd first got here, they were utilizing Porzingis much better than Carlisle ever did. And guess what? They showcased and chopped him.
That's a possibility, but as of right now, in this game, finishing drives, and honestly throughout the season thus far, finishing drive, hitting pull-up, mid-range shots, and even, getting some good passes when he does, in fact, move the basketball. I think especially, those things are nice, but especially when it comes to like Sixth Man of the Year consideration, it ends up being who is the sixth man that's putting up the most points. And as of right now, the way that he is shooting, and you're right, CA, it will ebb and flow, but as of right now, if he has anything that looks somewhat similar to this over the course of an entire season, which is a lot, obviously, to ask, He'll be in that conversation in a big way.
I thought tonight was interesting as well. With Kyrie Irving out of the lineup, Tim still not starting. So like you said, CA, I think they're purposely keeping him on the bench. They see something about his catch and shoot, his electricity, his quick energy that he can bring off the bench. They could have easily started him tonight. Josh Green got the start tonight. Great defensive player. Match up on a Jordan Poole and Kuzma as well.
Keep him in his role.
Keep him in his role. So I think, like you said, I think that Sixth Man of the Year race, he can be in it, obviously, if he keeps pace for what he's doing.
Who else is in the conversation. I didn't want to just jump.
Pat Bev, Chris Paul.
What are you doing right now?
You don't like Bev?
They're ancient.
I love both of them are top 3 and plus minus off the bench. They elevate their teams.
Plus minus off the bench ain't what we talking about with the Sixth Man of the Year award.
Hey,
you
man.
know what it is. We come in and score
points.
That's what the Sixth Man of the Year award ends up being.
I like to look deeper than just points off the bench. How do you elevate the second unit? But I know the Sixth Man of the Year award is definitely a point race.
And that's what we're talking about, right?
Timmy's leading it.
Sure. We could talk about those other things, and all those things are nice. Yeah, some guys come in and give you defense off the bench as the sixth man. Ultimately, that award is given off of points. And right now, Tim Hardaway Jr. is showing you that he can do that. Again, your Mavs defeat the Swiss cheese defense Wizards 130-117.
Ironically, they had 4-game losing streak against those Wizards. No Bradley Beal.
Interesting.
Yeah, they snapped that thing. Wizards are a terrible team, but at the same time, they're beating the teams they're supposed to try to. The New Orleans game, the exception, but they're now 9-3.
There you go. It's the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, we'll go around the NFL. Well, it seems like Deshaun Watson done for the year. We'll talk about it next on 105.3 The Fan.
Coming up on the next KNC Masterpiece, Mike Bassick returns. Plus, I know it's tough. Are there any Carolina?
Ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil Nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Uses directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Diamonds Direct's last and largest sale of the year is this weekend. Get an incredible 20% off virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets. Save an extra 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. This is the big one with an expanded selection and in-store designer appearances all weekend. Special financing too. Lowest prices of the year starting Friday. Get details and more at diamondsdirect.com. Open this Sunday for this extraordinary once-a-year store-wide event. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Boomer Esiason is on the Fan. Check out Kickoff, getting you ready for every game. Sunday mornings at 7 on the Fan. Presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it. And Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. It's Boomer on 105.3 The Fan.
This segment of the Get Right is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet is racing to finish the year number 1 in America. They're leading the way with an unheard of 400 Silverados with their best Black Friday savings all month long. Shop them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads and relax and enjoy the difference.
It's the Get right here on 105 through the Fan, your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. Reginald Atatula here with you. Sitting alongside Chris Arnold.
Got you down.
And the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Appreciate Rodrigo Mendoza on the ones and twos. And appreciate you listening, however you're listening and wherever you're listening on this Wednesday evening. You can always get involved with the program by texting into the truckwreck.com text line. You can also get us on Twitter. I'm at Reg Atatula, at Mr. Chris Arnold, and at Blake Live __. Rodrigo, let's go around the NFL. Now, when it comes to around the NFL, there's been a lot of Schadenfreude happening on this Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. As
speaking German on the radio.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Schadenfreude is laughing at other people's misery in a way, right? And the other people's misery that we would be talking about, Deshaun Watson's, as we found out today that the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns will miss the rest of the season after suffering a shoulder injury in the first half of Sunday's win over the Baltimore Ravens. That was announced today because an MRI revealed that he has a displaced fracture in the glenoid. Not exactly sure what that is, but
Is
it
that
does
somebody's
say
last name?
Maybe so. But it is in his throwing shoulder, so it's going to require surgery. He's expected to make a full recovery for the start of the 2024 campaign, but this ends kind of the up and down of he's cleared, but he can't play, but he's kind of got this injury.
It's the same injury. I mean, it's the same shoulder, right?
It is his throwing. It's his throwing shoulder. No, this is a different injury, weirdly enough. But ultimately, he's going to need surgery in that same shoulder, and that'll put his season to an end, gentlemen.
That's too bad for the Cleveland Browns because they were playing well. I'm not even looking at him. I'm just looking at the team. It's like, surprisingly, they've been playing well. Defense been carrying them. Running game's been on fire. Now they just need a quarterback. And ironically, I heard a name thrown out there.
Let's hear it.
Matty Ice.
That's a lot of people are thinking about Matt Ryan coming out of the booth and playing again. Now, Dorian Thompson-Robinson,
DTR,
who is the quarterback they drafted out of UCLA, he is set to start the game this weekend for them. However, with that being the case, there's other names that you can maybe throw out there as, hey, would you consider this name or that name? How about this as a name? Because as you mentioned, this defense is otherworldly. Literally, probably the best defense in the league, led by probably an MVP, if not a defensive player of the year candidate for sure, Myles Garrett.
Wait a minute, you said his name wrong.
Please let me know.
That's Blake Elliott's buddy from Arlington Martin.
Man, you got to respect the Warrior way, Myles Garrett. That's not just a regular boy.
Basketball against
That's not a regular boy,
man. That's his boy.
They built different down there in Martin. I'm telling you, Warrior way. He's been a dog since he came in. He's just now getting his respect as one of, if not the best defensive player in the league. But yeah, if you put anyone at quarterback with this team that just is competent, I think you'll be able to get them. I'm not saying you're going to win a Super Bowl with them, but like even when Deshaun was in there, I mean, he was only completing 61% of his passes, 7 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. They were 4-1 when he completed a full game, not going in and out of the lineup. So obviously he was the leader of that team. But I don't know. Maybe
you just go on this whole rant talking about Myles Garrett, and then you had the nerve to say that Deshaun Watson was the leader of the team? That man, just Myles Garrett leading the team.
Okay, but come on now, leader, calling the plays, the real focal point of the team. Michael Parsons, they're all the best player on the team, but they're not the core.
Did I just hear him compare Deshaun Watson to Dak Prescott? That's nasty business by you, young man.
Hey, man.
Those are different things.
Hey, man.
But how about this as a possibility? I've seen thrown out, this is by James Dater, SB Nation. He throws out the idea of, might sound a little crazy, but how about the Browns going and getting someone like a Cam Newton to see about this?
What? Is Cam available? I thought he was just doing podcasts.
Yeah. He's doing Go ask Cam Newton if he wouldn't strap it up and get back out here and play football.
He wants to.
You know he would.
Wasn't it just this offseason that he did that thing again where he was like, I'm one of the best 32? And, yeah, man, he'd strap it back up and get out here.
Is he still wearing that scarf like my dear?
I know he's wearing that hat with the big brim still.
Well,
and so, yeah, those are out there available for you.
If you're sticking with the Browns quarterbacks, are you feeling more confident in DTR or are you feeling more confident in PJ Walker? Both have a sub 30 QBR, sub 50 completion percentage. So which one are you feeling more comfortable if you had to go with one?
Is PJ Walker healthy? Because I know that he's had injury issues as well. That entire quarterback room has just kind of been problematic up and down.
Yeah,
but now folks are talking about from the 945 Browns trade for Kyler Murray. That's also that's an interesting thought.
Let me tell you why that's not gonna happen.
Don't have the capital.
Exactly. They didn't give all their money to Deshaun Watson. Kyler Murray got a big old contract.
Big.
Oh, y'all are just doing all the shenanigans from the 601. Ryan Fitzmagic. So y'all gonna go get Ryan Fitzpatrick off of the Thursday night football game.
Him and his beard and his chain on his neck.
Didn't he play like 17 seasons? I think he's good on football at this point.
Once you go to that booth, it's tough to come out unless you really are built like that because that booth is comfy. I mean, we're kind of in a booth right now, so you get comfy. Then all of a sudden, you're getting hit by a Micah Parsons, by a TJ Watt, by a Roquan Smith. That don't sound fun when you up there getting paid to talk about it. So it's a big adjustment.
Fake Tom Brady from the 214 just texted in. He said, Brady here. Nah, I'm enjoying my post-marriage life. Don't even ask. No, Brady ain't coming.
DTR,
he's about to be the owner of the Raiders, so he can't do it.
Yeah, he's part of the ownership,
they officially
isn't he?
Proved him.
As we continue around the NFL right here on 105.3 The Fan. Remember we were talking about how the Jets released Michael Carter?
Yeah.
He's been claimed. The Cardinals claimed him. So the Arizona Cardinals made sure to add him. They waived an offensive lineman, Doug Kramer, to be able to post the move. Remember Carter, the former 4th-round pick. He actually led the Jets in rushing as a rookie. Obviously you had Zonovan Knight was there as well, but Breece Hall. Breece Hall was there, and then he gets injured. Michael Carter comes up and does a lot of good run of the football. Unfortunately, he was let go when they went and got Dalvin Cook, and so the Cardinals went and took advantage of that, got themselves a nice little player there.
Back to these Browns because y'all have started something. The Get Right Tolos are texting in 877-881-1053, the truckwreck.com text line. Back to the quarterback. 214 says, go get RG3 back. Bring RG3 back.
That's also a man that seems like he would be willing in the right circumstances.
Yeah. 817 says, is Josh Dobbs available? No, he's leading the Minnesota Vikings now. He's undefeated up there.
Yeah, I think he's going to be there till the end of the season, at which point there might be another team that wants to go and use his services as a backup.
And the 903 says, y'all know Tony Romo never officially retired.
That was the one I was waiting for, right? The idea, as soon as we started talking about, go get this old guy off the street, I was like, when are the Cowboys fans going to do the thing that the tried and true? See if Tony Romo wants to do this still.
I think that 903 number is Gavin Dawson's burner.
Oh, goodness.
The burner account.
Because he always brings that up.
Let's continue on around the NFL, where Thursday Night Football should be a good one between the Ravens and the Bengals in Baltimore. Seems like there's going to be a few players missing, as happens on these short week turnarounds from a Sunday to a Thursday night. For the Bengals, the likes of T. Higgins will be out. Sam Hubbard
Oh, boy.
Will also be out. Those are two really good players for the Bengals. And on the Ravens side, they're not going to avoid this as well. Trenton Simpson has a concussion. He's out. Ronnie Stanley, the left tackle, starting left tackle, who has gotten beaten sometimes and has kind of played into some of those turnovers or those fumbles that you've seen from Lamar Jackson, but still, really good left tackle. He'll be out. In addition to Marlon Humphrey, one of their, big-time cornerbacks.
Non-contact, too.
He's doubtful for this game.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Devin Duvernay, a wide receiver and mostly return man. Kyle Van Noy, outside linebacker. Daryl Worley, all questionable. So some big names on the injury report for this game.
All I had to hear was that their left tackle was out. Trey Hendrickson is going to have a field day going after Lamar. Now, obviously, Lamar is one of the best, if not the best, scrambling quarterback. But he's going to be under pressure tonight. The Ravens like to run the ball, and it's going to be tough with when you don't have a full offensive line. And that Bengals D-line is underrated. They can get to the quarterback.
I hate to circle back around to these Cleveland Browns, but we got a Tolo.
It doesn't sound like you hate it. It sounds like you enjoy it quite a bit.
No. This is actually
Brownies.
This is thought-provoking. The others are funny. This is thought-provoking. 817's asked, if you were Jerry Jones, would you trade Trey Lance and get some capital?
I mean, if they wanted Trey Lance, I just can't imagine that they would want to make that.
You're trading for him. He's still on the rookie contract.
That's an experiment mid-season. That's tough.
Yeah, the whole reason for the Browns to be trading for a quarterback is to get a known commodity that they could depend on to help them.
Somebody with knowledge like Matty Ice.
Yeah, with a team that clearly has a defense and they just need someone to be able to be a caretaker. Trey Lance is a quarterback that we've notoriously talked about as needing reps. So what is the real difference between him and playing Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
What do we think about maybe Derek Carr going over there? Jameis balling. He's been in and out of the lineup.
We go back to the situation where we start talking about salary cap and all of that money tied up that you have in your starting quarterback, who you gave a fully guaranteed contract. Shout out to the Haslam family. Couldn't happen to some worse folks. As we continue
shots fired
around the NFL, apparently Robert Saleh, head coach of the New York Jets,
yes sir,
is continuing the nonsense and the shenanigans that we have continued having when it comes to the recovery timeline on Aaron Rodgers, which I'm already like, it was already kind of magical what we're talking about. It's one of those things that, all right, if it happens, cool, but it's like it still feels kind of iffy. Robert Saleh comes out and he's kind of letting this thing ride even further. He says, quote, Aaron's a big boy, a grown man, and no one's going to know Aaron's body like Aaron knows his body. And if he feels like after the doctors clear him that he's ready to go, if he wants to play, he's going to play. And I mean, that's how it has to be, I imagine.
Are you saying this is nonsense? You're not buying it?
No, not that the actual idea of him getting healthy this quickly is nonsense. The idea that we're waiting on every word here, because we've been talking about this a lot. And so, like, I obviously accept my culpability in this because this is part of the news cycle. But it just feels like, oh, here he goes. He's walking without crutches. It's gonna happen.
But see, I don't mind it because in that Jets, what do they not have right now? Confidence. So if your coach and Saleh can put confidence in the team, whether that be delusional, whether or not be real, Aaron's looking healthy this week, might come back next week. He has to keep that locker room together. So if he needs to flub and flab to keep that team afloat, I'm fine with it. I would rather my head coach do that than just give up on the season and be like, well, he comes back when he comes back. Zach's not playing that well. It is what it is. I'd rather my coach be delusional that we're going to turn the season around.
You gotta be ready when he comes back.
So, but see,
you gotta be ready.
We talked about it yesterday.
Be in position.
I don't think they're going to be in position even when he comes back. That O-line is a mess. But if he does, I think they could turn it around somehow, some way.
Before we go, right quick, the Chicago Bears was the word I was looking for, have been playing multiple weeks with Tyson Bagent as the quarterback of that team, 4 weeks in particular, or 4 games, I should say. Justin Fields will return this Sunday as they take on the Lions. So they'll get their starting quarterback after he missed a whole month with a thumb injury. That's around the NFL right here on the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, what's the best rookie season that you can remember? And where does CJ Stroud rank in that? Ooh, we'll discuss it next on The Fan.
Miss any show segments? Tisk, tisk, tisk. But fear not. You can go back and listen to our fan shows, and it's easier than ever on the Odyssey app. Check it out.
I'm a big believer in investing into what the wealthiest people in the world invest into. But it's not easy to know exactly what that is, and it hasn't always been possible for regular folks like you and I. But that's changing. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you've done a good job acquiring some assets, now is the time to consider private equity. Private equity is ownership of private companies that aren't traded on the stock market and in most cases are very exclusive. Examples could include ownership of apartments or nursing homes, dental practices, solar farms, you name it. Why do so many billionaires invest into private equity? Because of historically low correlation to the stock market and historically higher returns. If you have a goal with your portfolio but aren't there yet, call Trajan Wealth today. Call 469-579-3500. 469-579-3500.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. May require accreditation.
O'Reilly! Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Arlington on West Interstate 20 next to Party City now through November 28th for the grand opening sale. You'll get 2 times O Rewards points on select purchases. Pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card after rebate. Plus, buy one, get one free Coca-Cola products right now at your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking your best directly correlates to feeling your best. At Coldwell & Son, our stylists are here to help you look your best and share some of the best styles and brands this fall. Brands like Peter Millar, Barber, Johnny O, and more. Coldwell is packed with incredible fall merchandise with 5-pocket pants, sweaters, perfect fitting shirts, suits, and more. Hurry in today to see our best selection of shoes, tuxedos, and casual wear. Coldwell & Son in the Park Cities. Coldwell & Son, menswear for the modern man. Open 9 to 6 daily.
Imagine moving into your new home before selling your old home. For top dollar, you can with Orchard. Here's one couple's story. Moving to Texas for work, they needed to sell their old home first. Move, rent an apartment, then move into their new home. Total nightmare. But with Orchard's Move First program, they could sell their old home after moving into their new home.
Orchard sold our old home in less than a week and for way more than we thought. So we got a boat.
Buy your next home before you sell. Get a free, no obligation cash offer from Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone.
So what if
experience, there's only one name that truly sizzles. Big Green Egg. Grill, roast, bake, smoke, and anything in between. With cooking temperatures ranging from a sizzling 200 to a scorching 1200 degrees. It's the most versatile grill on the market. Plus, don't forget about Big Green Egg's lifetime warranty. It's the best in its class. Big Green Egg, where flavor meets innovation and where every meal becomes an unforgettable masterpiece. Big Green Egg. Ignite your passion for cooking today.
RJ Choppa here for Boomer Jacks, your official game day headquarters and the place to catch all the college and pro football action. It is Boomer Jacks. It's not just for the weekends, though. Every day of the week is a great time to head to Boomer Jacks' best drink specials in town. Ice cold beers and drink specials starting at just $3 all day, every day of the week. You can find your game at Boomer Jacks. Best TV setup in town, best patio setup in town, and you've got half-price menu items on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 16 locations. Find yours online, boomerjacks.com.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Yes, indeed, it is the Get Right on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Datatula here with you, sitting alongside Chris Arnold.
Got you down.
And the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Shout out to you, and shout out to all of you listening, wherever you're listening, on the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/DallasFanCam, 105.3 The Fan on YouTube. We appreciate you rocking with us on this Wednesday evening. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll discuss the truths, the NBA truths that we've started to pick up on in this young NBA season. You can always get involved with the program by texting into the truckwreck.com text line 877-881-1053. And right now, let's talk about the best rookie seasons that you can remember. Probably in the NFL, just in general. And CA, you're going to, yeah. I think let's stick to NFL, but I'd like to open this up to any sport, because one thing about it is and I know, Blake, you've been fascinated by this young man. CJ Stroud has been a delight. He's been a shining effort in this. I think we all immediately got enamored with the long streak of no interceptions for him to start the season. And now you have them at 4-4, or sorry, I believe they're
5. Add that one more.
4-5.
No, 5-4.
5-4, because they were 4-4 playing the Bengals, and then obviously they have this big, maybe not primetime game, but a big game that has a lot of eyes against the Bengals. And yes, they did win, make it 5-4 for that team. It's been a fantastic job for him, and now he's kind of in the odds for MVP. People are looking at him as, a shining example of a rookie, particularly after kind of, being in that which quarterback do you take, and it felt like a lot of people were leaning away from him in that discussion. Ultimately, Bryce Young is selected number 1. A fantastic rookie season thus far. Obviously, he needs to finish it out, but I'm starting to wonder, where could he land amongst great NFL rookie seasons? So, what are the ones that you could think of? And Blake, what's been so fascinating about him for you?
Where do I start? Where do I start with CJ Stroud? I think the most telling stat is not one that shows up on the paper. He is, like you said the other day, he is elevating guys to play at better levels than they've ever played before. Tank Dell, 3rd round guy. Noah Brown, Cowboys let him go. Dalton Schultz, Cowboys let him go. So guys that were on the Cowboys, the 2 that I just named, they weren't good enough. Dak didn't have enough weapons. We don't really need him. CJ Stroud's making them look like all-pro receivers and tight ends. Dalton Schultz, and last year with the Cowboys, 5 touchdowns. Through 10 weeks, 11 weeks this year, Dalton Schultz already has 4 touchdowns. CJ Stroud, first teams that are above 500, he's 4-1 against them. I think that's kind of important to play good on those big-time games when those teams are actually matched up, games where you need to win against a good opponent, which someone we'll get to later doesn't always do that. He's on pace to shatter the rookie record for passing yards, on pace for 4,960 yards. Andrew Luck holds the record at 4,374. So he is about to shatter all of those records. Already set the record for most passing yards by a rookie in a single game with 470. No rookies won it since Jim Brown. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's the favorite and it's a runaway and no one else can take it away from him. But the way he's playing right now, the stats match the eye test. I love what I'm seeing. What do you think, CA?
He's putting on a show, and just to put some comps in the NFL, how well he's playing, and other guys who are like Rookie of the Year or who had sensational rookie quarterback years. Justin Herbert in 2020, he had 31 passing touchdowns, Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Chargers. Baker Mayfield, Cleveland. People forget. They know he wasn't no good lately after that. But his rookie year, 27 touchdown passes. That was a record at the time for rookies till Justin Herbert broke it. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Dak Prescott. See, this is what I was compared to. I'm compared to Dak Prescott's season, even though a lot of people want to say, that was Zeke Elliott because he led the league in rushing that year. Dak Prescott got the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He was 6th in the MVP vote. He had 6 rushing touchdowns. He had a 104 quarterback rating, only 4 picks, 23 passing touchdowns. But more importantly, the man won 11 straight games. People forget about that. That's why Tony Romo couldn't get his job back. Russell Wilson had a hell of a year as a rookie. He was also the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Robert Griffin III in 2012, RG3. The man was Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is different about some of those, right? We talk about Dak, we talk about Russ. Those ones, they definitely leaned a lot on other aspects of the game, and that's not to shade them because they did play well. That RG3 thing was different, right?
Baylor legend.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Killeen, Texas. He absolutely showed up in a way where you could tell that the offense was leaning on him, and that's some of what is kind of the amazing thing for me about CJ Stroud is that this is not run leaning. They're not leaning on the run here. Right. The defense is improved, but it's not one of those things where the defense is carrying them. He is out here making veteran type decisions in a situation where you would not expect a veteran to instantly or you wouldn't expect a rookie to instantly play in that level. I mean, you mentioned, the likes of Justin Herbert and Baker Mayfield. There's easily an argument to be made that those guys, having years under their belt, are still not playing at the level that CJ Stroud is playing right now. And that's a testament to that man.
He is playing as well as what he's playing the way the Chicago Bears hoped that Justin Fields would have been playing when they drafted him.
Sure.
That's what they hoped for. He's having a great year. You have to go all the way back to Dan Marino's rookie year to see somebody playing this well as a rookie. And as far as RG3's numbers, because this is actually co-signing on what you were just saying, this is how much of an effect he had on Washington. The man passed for 3,200 yards, 20 touchdown passes, only 5 picks, 102 quarterback rating, 815 rushing yards, which is still a rookie record. 7 rushing touchdowns. Again, offensive rookie of the year.
And then Mike Shanahan ruined him. What a scoundrel. But I'm sure people around these parts not too mad about that one. So those are some of the quarterbacks. I just kind of want to go through some of the rookies that have just had fantastic seasons, like just bar none, rookies that have been incredible. And on the truckwreck.com text line, y'all are already delivering.
There you go.
Because from the 214 hit one of the ones that I would love to bring up. How about Randy Moss? Randy Moss immediately dropped into the league and made all the people who passed him, shout out to Jerry Jones, passed up on him, upset immediately. Oh man, we could have had that, right? Like rookie of the year, third in MVP voting that year, 1,300 yards, right? Like
most of them against the Cowboys, because he played the Cowboys that year and he wanted to be a Cowboy so bad, and Jerry Jones wanted him too. I don't know if y'all know the story behind that.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
Michael Irvin actually was crying, and he called him out. He said, "It's on me. This is my fault." What had happened was the old head media guys, the Randy Galloways, the Dale Hansons, they were on their pedestal or their podium, whatever, just preaching the Cowboys have gone to hell. Michael Irvin, they got the White House, they got all this drama. They're not focused. They're not even, you can't have a guy who's smoking weed. Because Randy Moss in college, that was part of his story. And they're like, we can't have that over here. And so Jerry Jones wanted Randy Moss badly. Michael Irvin wanted Randy Moss badly. And because of the sentiment, the public outcry, he had to draft Greg Ellis instead of Randy Moss. And when Randy Moss played the Cowboys, burnt them alive. Toasted every cornerback on that roster.
And just to put a staple on the CJ Stroud MVP Rookie of the Year, I don't know if people realize, no one thought the Texans were going to be good.
Right.
I don't know if we remember, they picked second in the draft.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. Third in the draft. That means your team's not very good if you've got 2 top 3 picks.
Well, they traded this year.
I know they traded, but that's not very good if you're in that situation to have those players.
They only won 4 games.
I don't even think they won that many.
You're right, it's 3.
I might even been less
Lovey
than that.
gave him that last one because he's mad at he was mad at him for trying to fire him.
I feel confident in him as a high MVP pick. I know it's kind of a long shot because, like we said, he's a rookie. No one's run one since Jim Brown. But the accountability is the biggest thing for me, and I see it going forward. Rigo, if you could play a clip of that accountability showing after the Bengals game.
After threw the interception, I let him know, man, I got your back. I know I made a mistake, but that one play doesn't define me, and I'm gonna go prove myself again. And they knew that it would come down to the wire. We knew that too. And I just went to D'Amico and let him know, man, I got you. We're going to win this game. And he looked me right in the eye and said, I trust you. So it's amazing to have trust in your head coach. And I'm a rookie. And my OC, Bobby, man, I think Bobby, we need to give him his flowers. He called a great game again, leaned on his players and took risk. And I appreciate him for even doing that.
Wow. That's what you want to hear from your quarterback. As a rookie, he's taking on like that. Hey, that's on me, but I'm going to win the game for us. And I think that's all you can ask for in a rookie quarterback. So if he doesn't win the MVP, I don't think he cares. He's got this team trending in the right direction. First-year coach D'Amico Ryan. So I love what I'm seeing from Houston, especially from that boy Stroud.
So you want to talk about, as we continue to talk about, some of the greatest rookie seasons that we've seen.
Talk to me.
Obviously, we mentioned Randy Moss. How about, as we're moved around from quarterbacks, let's bring it back to another Cowboy. He wears number 11. His name is Micah Parsons. Y'all remember when he had 13 sacks in his rookie year?
So easy to just, man. What a dog.
Like it's incredible to think about, but that probably is a top 10 rookie season of all time in this league.
Lawrence
and
Taylor
that dude is right here in Dallas still right now. Like and you talk about Lawrence Taylor also had a crazy rookie season too.
That was the comp, because at the time Lawrence Taylor, the only defensive player of the year as a rookie.
Yeah.
And they're like, can Micah join? And they're people, well, we don't want to give that to him yet. That's the only reason
he's been in the race since he's been in the NFL for rookie. Not my bad, not rookie. The defensive player of the year, and that's insane. And I see. I don't know if you remember on draft night. I know a lot of Cowboy Twitter, a lot of Cowboys fans wanted us to draft a corner. Patrick Surtain got taken right before us by the Denver Broncos. And
him and J.C. Horn.
We wanted both of those because we needed a corner. And then all of a sudden we get Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. Oh, what are we going to do with that? Oh, they're going to turn out to be the two best players on your defense. So, turned out pretty well.
What about Zeke? What do y'all think about his rookie year?
Buddy, that's one of the seasons we were talking about. You talk about that 16 season and the way that Dak Prescott played. Zeke only had 1,600 yards.
Yeah, led the league in rushing as a rookie.
It was amazing how clear and clean it was that he was one of the best, if not the best running back in the league.
He was literally threatening Eric Dickerson's 2,000 yards. And they would talk about this because him and Dickerson are friends. And the thing that kind of not upset Zeke, but they didn't let him play in that Philadelphia Eagles game, the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Where he could have gotten close, if not broke the 2,000 yards as a rookie.
And was good for about a touchdown a season or a touchdown a game in that one.
It was hurdling people too. Remember that?
That was like that's the thing. That's the thing that made people kind of sad when you saw him towards year 6. It's like you don't have exactly that level of athleticism anymore because he was a monster. He was like a big bruising dude that had that level of speed and athleticism. Finished first team All Pro and of course third in MVP voting. So we talk about that.
Yeah, Dak was 6th in MVP. Zeke was 3rd, and yet Dak was named Offensive Rookie of the Year. And primarily, I think people were like, well, he only threw 4 picks. Nobody's done that since Dan Marino as a rookie.
See, that's what happens when y'all prioritize quarterbacks so damn much. Sometimes we forget greatness.
They devalue the running back.
Somebody's going to break the mold. One of these offensive players, one of this year's got to win MVP or something. I mean, this year it's like kind of open. So, like, there's not no clear-cut winner.
Tyreek Hill wanted it.
Yeah, Tyreek, AJ,
if he gets his
CMC.
2,000 yards, maybe.
I think if he hits that 2,000 number, for some reason, especially in sports, we love some of these kind of arbitrary numbers, these hard and fast. For instance, to kind of jump sports, you remember when Russell Westbrook hit that triple-double? Like, we've seen players get like 9.7 assists. But something about hitting that 10 square, those hard and fast numbers, does something for folks. So I think if you see Tyreek Hill end up with that 2,000, I think then that might change something for some folks, particularly if you don't have somebody that stands out in a large way that grabs it as a quarterback. And speaking of quarterbacks and rookie seasons, how about Cam Newton in 2011? You got to turn your mic on, CA. You took a breath and now you went away from it. But Cam Newton had 4,000 passing yards and 21 passing touchdowns and then added 14 rushing touchdowns as well.
He was running people over as a rookie. Took that team on his back. Oh, my. Oh.
And this is the year after carrying an entire Auburn squad to his back with nobody that was actually an NFL player but him.
Heisman, everything.
Cam Newton was just a monster.
If they hadn't beat him down, he probably won a Super Bowl too.
I mean, and he had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl in that 15 season. Was that it?
Yeah, that was the year that Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware beat him down. And what was the deal? Everybody kept talking about the referees were treating him like he was a linebacker. Like, well, it's okay. He can handle it. He's bigger than the rest of these quarterbacks. And I'm not mad at Von Miller. I'm not mad at D. Ware. I'm just saying Cam Newton took a beating in that game. And they were 15-1 that season.
And, of course, CA, I'm going to lean on your expertise. Jim Brown. No, I'm just playing. You're not that old. I'm not that, but Jim Brown, obviously,
what happened was
the last one to win the MVP as a rookie. 942 rushing yards in a shorter season, mind you, 9 touchdowns, and that's one of those dudes that all the old guys that were there at that time, they tell you just don't understand.
Yeah, you just don't understand. In fact, Barry Sanders, who was the most exciting running back I've ever seen in my life, I consider him the greatest running back I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a bunch of them. His father was his high school coach. His father got brought with him to Oklahoma State to be his assistant coach over there too. When he passed Jim Brown on the rushing record, his father says, so, that ain't nothing. And then when Barry Sanders retired, remember, Barry Sanders could have had 20,000 yards easily. He could have.
It's one of the reasons why the Detroit Lions are just, as an organization, have been a laughing stock, and good for them that they're getting this to come back around.
Well, this is one of the things that Barry Sanders said. They said, Barry, you could have had 20,000 yards. He said, I don't mean anything to me. He said, my daddy said, I don't care how many yards you get. You're not Jim Brown.
Mr. Elusive.
So he said, I've never been caught up in the numbers.
Shout out to Blake Alexander, who reminds us that Cam Newton started his career with back-to-back 400-yard passing games.
Not too bad.
I just love giving him his props because it felt like he didn't get enough of them at that time.
And ironically, the Cowboys are playing his old team.
That's
on
right.
Sunday.
The Carolina Panthers are who the Cowboys face off this weekend. We'll keep talking about that as the week continues. But coming up next right here on The Get Right on 105 Through the Fan, let's talk about some NBA truths that we have learned over the young season thus far. We'll do it next on 105 Through the Fan.
We have you covered, Stars fans, with exclusive content from two-time Stanley Cup champion Greg Ludwig and NHL reporter Sean Shapiro. It's Spits and Suds, 3 times weekly on the Odyssey app or wherever your favorite podcasts.
Deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. It's the perfect time to upgrade any home, business, or gaming setup powered by Intel Core processors. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of huge savings and free shipping. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Nothing turns game day into a great day like stocking up at Specs and cheering on the Cowboys. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Specs has everything you need to turn your pregame party into a full-on football feast. With lower prices on a stadium-sized selection of world-class wines, spirits, beers, seltzers, and gourmet foods, Specs is your one-stop shop for all your game day essentials. Cowboy up at Specs. The fun starts here.
This segment of the Get Right is brought to you by Frankel & Frankel. Life is unpredictable and accidents happen. Frankel & Frankel are the go-to attorneys for car and truck wrecks in the DFW. And if you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, contact Frankel & Frankel for a free consultation at truckwreck.com or call 214 or 817-333-3333.
It's the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan, your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. I'm Reginald Datatula sitting alongside Chris Arnold.
Got you down.
And the fan phenom Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Shout out to all of you listening wherever you're listening on this Wednesday night. You can always get involved with the program on the truckwreck.com text line 877-881-1053 where, gentlemen, there's at least a couple of people who are super fascinated with something.
Let's hear it.
From the 817, hey CA, did they find your long lost son in Blake? Someone else pointed out that they think that y'all look alike. Or y'all share DNA. Is there some nepotism happening here, gentlemen?
Wild? He does look like my cousin. I got a cousin named Brian, and he looks just like him, Brian Arnold.
Greatness. I mean, what can I say? If I'm associated with CA, I'll take that. The three-timer, I'll take that as
Blake, what's your daddy's name or your cousin's or your uncle's name?
That's too much federal information. I already gave out my birthday.
Nobody made you do that, Mike.
I know.
You did that on your own.
I want to show you a picture of my cousin Brian on the next break, and you're gonna say, "Damn, he could."
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "Oh, that's Uncle Brian. I see him all the time." That's fantastic. It's the Get Right. As I mentioned, your Dallas Mavericks get a win in the nation's capital against the Washington Wizards, 130-117. Luka back to good ways. Tim Hardaway Jr. goes crazy for 31 off of the bench in, as we've dubbed it, kind of 6 man of the year.
Spark plug.
Kind of play. Yeah, real catalyst things from Tim Hardaway Jr. But around the rest of the NBA, we've learned some things, I think. 10 games is usually a good sample in the NBA to kind of start grabbing some ideas. Of course, you kind of readjust and reevaluate over like kind of 10-game samples.
Right.
And at the very least, let's start to see where we are, gentlemen. How's that sound?
Talk to me, man.
Let's begin with the team that I think you're interested in, Blake, the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that made a splash trade to begin the season or before the season.
Dame time.
They went and got Damian Lillard. And so just as we know, and I'm going to always put it back in this context because I think it makes it very easy for us here to associate. When you trade for a big player, especially when it's close to the season or in season, takes a little bit to do some figuring out. And we haven't seen them be at their highest. We knew they were going to give up some defense. The offense hasn't always been where it needs to be. However, do you guys think it's fair, this thought, that the Bucks actually hired the wrong coach in getting Adrian Griffin? He was previously an assistant
with
the Toronto Raptors in Nick Nurse's
He's actually
staff.
a former Maverick, too.
Didn't realize that, actually.
Yeah, back with Dirk and Finley and Nash.
There you
back in
go.
the day, AG.
Now, he had not been a head coach, and he was hired before this trade was made, but it seems like he was hired at the behest of your star player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And when you do that, of course, like, hey, man, you want to make sure that your star player is involved and has a say-so. However, this is a type of team where you imagine that some veteran coaching know-how would be useful. And right now, you're seeing that this doesn't quite look how you want it to be right now.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be on the bottom half of the league in turnovers, especially with two guys and Dame and Giannis who are usually pretty good at taking care of the ball. Giannis obviously gets a lot of attention. But my main thing has been how bad their defense has been. I mean, obviously they gave up one of the best, if not the best, defensive guard in Drew Holiday. So we knew the defense was going to falter. We didn't think it was going to falter to bottom 5 in the league. You still have Giannis, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, every time he steps on the floor. They still have Jay Crowder's been in and out of the lineup. They still have pieces over there that I like. So the fact that the defense is so bad, the offense going to figure itself out. They got too much talent on offense not to win games. But if you can't play defense, that Drew Holiday trade is going to show dividends because he's on the Celtics balling.
Yeah, I mean, and Drew Holiday is what he is. Yep. One of the things defensively for me, as you mentioned, and I think that's a fair point, is that you have, even the players that you have that are defensively inclined haven't looked as good defensively. Brook Lopez was a guy that for the majority of the season was being talked about as a defensive player of the year candidate. And it seems like some of the schematic choices that they have decided to go with have kind of limited his defensive play. Now, Brook Lopez isn't a spring chicken, mind you, so maybe you ask yourself, is this starting to fall off? But I mean, Brook Lopez is a player who's remade himself, by my count, 3 times in the league. And that is a wild thing to think about because typically you talk about and you give plaudits to a player in any league that's like, he used to be this player and he changed himself one time to now be a different player. What a great veteran who matured. He's done that 3 times in the league. And so
very effectively, too.
Yes. And so I find myself a little, I have some questions when it comes to Adrian Griffin. Of course, again, 10 games. We'll see what he continues to do as he develops. This one, however, doesn't have to be a wait and see. I think that we are there. Gentlemen, and I'll direct this to you, CA. Tyrese Maxey is an all-star lock.
South Garland's own.
And might even be all-NBA.
Let me tell you something. They've been sleeping on him. He was trying to defer to James Harden. He was trying to defer to Ben Simmons. And now it is his rock to spread around. He is getting his props and his flowers. Very proud of Tyrese. Here's what's so crazy. Tyrese Maxey wanted to be a Maverick so bad, and Mavericks had an opportunity. They drafted Josh Green at the time.
Oh no! Don't do that to Josh Green on a night where he didn't score any points. Don't do that to him.
I love Josh. Don't do that to him.
Don't do that to him.
I'm not doing anything to Josh. I like Josh a lot. I'm just saying, locally, a lot of people like Tyrese Maxey. This is Tyrese Maxey. Come on, man.
And what the crazy thing is he still does things in this community. I remember this offseason, he had like a block party in Garland.
Yep.
He still loves it here.
He had a block party last night. The other night, he was 50, man.
For real.
I love the young guards in this league kind of finally taking that next step. You know, we've had the Currys of the league and just kind of the Lillards and just like, oh, they're going to be all NBA. They're going to be the best guards. Nope. Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Maxey, the Tyrese is taking over. It's a Tyrese league. And those guys are now saying like, hey, I don't need a veteran to guide the way anymore. I am the veteran. I've had enough under me to kind of take the keys. And we've seen that the system has been a lot better over there without a James Harden there. I mean, we'll get to the clips in a second, but the 76ers, like CA just said, they have looked awesome. Embiid and that 2-man game with Embiid and Maxey is unstoppable right
They
now.
had the best record in the league. They finally lost another game. They've only lost 2 games.
Yep. Who they lose to? The Pacers. Tyrese Maxey. I have the craziest stat of the week that you're going to hear. If you're on social media, you saw it. Tyrese Halliburton in the last 2 games has 32 assists and 0 turnovers, while also averaging 25 points during that stretch.
And go ahead.
He's got the ball in his hands, and he's just making all the right reads.
Oh, and they gave him his $200 million contract last year. Here's the deal about the Pacers. They're the number 1 offense in the NBA, and of course, it's run by Rick Carlisle, who came up with the most efficient offense in NBA history with the Mavericks and Luka and Porzingis.
Yeah, man, he leads. I mean, Halliburton leading the NBA in assists by a mile. The offense looks not just good; it looks like all-time good. Like this could be the best offense in the league.
I will caution though on that Pacers track. They are still young. I think that they want to make that playoff push. They're going to have a 3rd star step up. It's pretty much him and Miles carrying it. Obi Toppin has been playing well, especially the last 2 games, but it's going to need to be consistent. A Benedict Mathurin,
but that's
Buddy Hield. I'm going to need them to be 15 points a game. You can't have 12 because they're both, no one's averaging over 15 other than Miles and Tyrese. So I just think we need another star, or I won't even say a star, another player to step up and kind of be that middle of the range scorer nightly, not just here and there.
Well, I think that's kind of what you're looking at is obviously the idea of like the 3-star team. I don't think that is an end all be all, kind of blueprint for everyone. And what you have here is you have 2 consistent players that every night will be there, and then you have 3 guys that you feel comfortable will give you something on any given night. And I think that that's actually the way to do this for this team is that you need that guy to score 15. Well, tonight it might be Benedict Mathurin, who actually might score you 20, 25. And then another it might be Obi Toppin. And then another, like you have multiple guys that can give you that, but then also will still give you a consistent. It's not like I'll give you 15 one night and I give you 3 another night. Those guys are consistently there in the way that this goes. And all of that also still forms around the way that Tyrese Halliburton is able to run an offense.
I think it's funny that the 2 top offensive teams, the 2 teams with 2 of the better records and the 3-point percentage, the Mavs and the Pacers, are formed quite similarly. They both shoot a lot of threes. They both have a very high pace, move the ball up and down the floor. And then like Reg just said, they have 2 stars and then a bunch of guys that fill in their roles and are very good at filling in their roles. You don't know if it's going to be Derrick Jones Jr. one night, Grant Williams one night, Timmy, Derek Lively, and then the same for you just said with if it's going to be Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin. So I think both teams are constructed quite similarly.
And for those who think, well, it's Rick Carlisle and Jason Kidd, and Jason Kidd ran Rick Carlisle's offense when they won the championship, these are 2 different types of coaches. Rick Carlisle is an offensive-minded coach. Jason Kidd is a defensive-minded coach. So you can't say it's the coaching. What it is the coaches are taking advantage of what they got.
Yeah, that's, really solid teams. And one of these truths that came up here is that the Mavericks are putting the right players around Luka, because that's been the conversation over the entirety of his tenure here is, can you put the right pieces around him? I still think that there's finishing touches to be done.
Yes. Oh yeah, they're not.
But I think when it comes to the larger building blocks, they've done a fairly good job at finding the right pieces to put around him. One of those main ones being Grant Williams.
Oh yes.
And obviously Kyrie Irving. Don't want to ignore the big one there.
You're talking about the one that nobody saw coming, though.
I think we were kind of talking about it, but the way that Grant he's Williams, fit has been even better.
Everything's up. Everything.
Everything is up. I was talking about the obvious. I was thinking the guy from Portland, because he signed
Derrick Jones Jr.?
No. I'm talking about the one that Portland matched.
He
was the one, Thibault.
Yeah, Matisse Thibault.
I thought he was going to be here because they put poison pills in it.
Yeah.
And the Portland Trailblazers still matched it.
Yeah.
If Thibault is signed, I don't think Grant Williams is here.
That was a heavy topic during Mavs offseason, was get Matisse Thybulle. And when we didn't get him, I was in a similar what are we gonna do? And then Grant Williams was he was kind of a role player, I would say, to say, on the Celtics. And then this year he's taken it. I'm gonna be that 3rd or 4th best scorer every night. And shoot at a high efficiency.
He was a really good role player on a championship level team, and to the point where when Joe Mazzulla wasn't playing him in the postseason, the smart people in the NBA that I trust looked at him and were like, why is this guy not playing? And that was enough for me to believe he's capable of filling that role for the Mavericks, and then also getting the benefits of playing with Luka Doncic, that level of star and level of creator, mind you.
And both of them are the same age. That's what's great about it. They can be together for a while.
And it seems like their personalities match, which matters a whole bunch. We talk about the on-the-court stuff, but the personality, the human portions of these things matter a lot. How about this as a truth, gentlemen? And this one is one that I'm feeling, gentlemen.
Talk to me.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are a true Western Conference contender.
I'm gonna let you take a CA.
Cat, let me tell you something. The only anybody thinks it's just about Rudy Gobert. No, Cat.
Oh, I wouldn't even start there.
Hold on, I'm sorry, my bad. Ant.
Yeah, it was man. I was like, look, man. Cat's time has been.
I thought I was saying Ant, but I meant Cat. I mean, I was saying Cat. I thought I was saying Ant, but I was saying Cat.
There we go. It's one of them animals.
Yes, Anthony Edwards is the real deal, and he has been the real deal for a while. When we were in Abu Dhabi, I was watching it close up. I go, boy, they going to put this thing together this year. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. I'm just saying they are dangerous.
I think that's a good way to put it. The Timberwolves are 100% improving as a team, and they're better than they were the last couple of years. But I don't think you can win when I love Anthony Edwards, dog, going to be on the All-NBA team this year. But the
might contend for all defense as well. Like that's the thing he's
been a dog defender. Your next 3 leading scorers, I know they play kind of smaller. Some play power forward at the 4, but it's kind of positionless. They're all centers. You got Naz Reid,
who's been very good,
Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. All great players. I just don't know if Mike Conley at the helm, and I just don't know if they have enough wing play when you're playing a Boston Celtics. When you have to play a Tyrese Maxey.
You say wing play, where does Cat set up?
Well, and then also
as a joke.
Although he was out here. He was out here scrapping you last night, but Jaden McDaniels is defensively high-level defender.
I like him.
With also the length, right? The things that we're talking about. He's athletic, but he's also long. And allow me to kind of, when we talk about teams, y'all like bringing up the idea of the change that could happen. I think that Karl Anthony Towns is a piece that they could ultimately move on from.
Yep.
Because they have their guy who is very clear in when it comes to play capability, but then also mentality. Anthony Edwards is their guy. Defensively, Rudy Gobert is still huge for you.
He really is.
I think that now you have a possibility of maybe utilizing Karl Anthony Towns, who is a good player, but clearly not a guy who you want to build your team around. Maybe there's a team that's willing to give you the likes of some of that additional length and some other things that you can maybe parlay that into and really solidify your team to be able to contend the West.
What position on the Timberwolves would you think need to be addressed if they were to move on to Cat? Because I'm interested to hear what you think. Is it at point guard, another wing?
Good. He's still good.
He's good, but he's not 21.
Well.
Yeah, but this is the thing. They're not playing for 2 years from now.
Right, they're playing for now. And you were the one that's high on CP3. He's better than CP3 to me.
But CP3's coming off the bench.
The reason
Conley coming off the bench, different argument.
He's healthy. CP3's not.
So what position are you looking to upgrade for the Timberwolves?
I don't even know that if it's particularly locked into a position. I think it just give yourself an opportunity to get really good players. Because I think you have enough to build a starting lineup. And then at that point, it's just, what do you have? Does it help improve you? I think that level of flexibility when you're not locked into, I need a wing or I need a guard. I think that allows you to go and make better trades, better deals that allow you to fortify your team better. And I think that's all an opportunity. But even with Karl Anthony Towns still on this team, that team is looking like a menace through 11-ish games. It's not the end all be all of the season, but these are the truths that we've latched onto through the early portions of the season.
Do you think that little scuffle, we'll get into that later, do you think that
wasn't a scuffle.
Oh yeah, that was a full-on WWE. Do you think that has any I don't want to stock in keeping Cat? Because Gobert, I don't want to say Gobert, Ant's a dog. He's ready to scrap. Your boy gets put in a headlock and you don't do a thing? You're standing right next to it making a face?
The tough thing about that is, like, Karl Anthony Towns has always had, people have kind of levied that, like, soft moniker on him.
And Ant's the complete opposite.
That's been there. And shout out to Jimmy Butler in that, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, Rudy Gobert is also one of those players that seems to have a weird relationship with other players in the league.
Very weird.
And so it's funny because when he was in Utah, it was actually that it seemed like that locker room really liked him. But you remember when he didn't make what was it, the All-Star team?
Oh, and he cried.
And he showed his emotions. There was some jest around the league, including and probably namely from Draymond Green.
Still to this
and
day.
so I do wonder if that actually does change the way that people view Karl Anthony Towns, or if that maybe speaks more to Rudy Gobert in the way that he's seen. I'm not in that locker room. I can't quite tell you, but maybe. I think we'll have to see, and we will over the course of the season. As like I said, we're only like an eighth of the way through, and we will continue to keep up with all of that right here on the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, it's time to do some sharing time. We'll find out what these fellas got on the other side of the break.
The Fan continues to grow because of you, our listener teammates. Thank you for turning it on and leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Great. If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics 972-972-8610. That's 972-972-8610. 972-972-8610.
RJ Chop here with my good friend Dr. Mark Bashar. Have you been losing your hair? And I was, trust me, steadily losing my hair. You don't have to go through the rest of your life bald. You can go do something about it with Dr. Mark Bashar, the first in the Southwest to have this robotic hair restoration treatment. He's done more of these than anybody else. And you can go see him. 817-473-2120. Mansfield and South Lake offices. Dr. Mark Bashara. Hit up markbasharamd.com. Tell him RJ Choppy for the fan sent you.
Diamonds Direct's last and largest sale of the year is this weekend. Get an incredible 20% off virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets. Save an extra 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. This is the big one with an expanded selection and in-store designer appearances all weekend. Special financing too. Lowest prices of the year starting Friday. Get details and more at diamondsdirect.com. Open this Sunday for this extraordinary once-a-year store-wide event. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
We know you're excited because Cowboys football is back. With the free Odyssey app, you can jump back and listen to the moments that matter, even if you missed it live. Catch Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus on G-Bag Nation, or listen to Jerry Jones' interview with Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan.
And I hope that our fans would understand that I do know how to keep it stirred up.
Stay close to the team wherever you are this season. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Boomer Esiason is on the fan. Check out Kickoff, getting you ready for every game. Sunday mornings at 7 on the fan. Presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it. And Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. It's Boomer on 105.3 The Fan.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Just announced Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine's one-time Equinox offloads. A limited supply of excess Equinox models will be sold direct to the public below market value. See them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. Don't wait. The best sell fast. Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads.
So get right on 105 through The Fan. Reginald Atatula, Chris Arnold sitting in with me, along with the fan phenom, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Appreciate you rocking with us right here on 105.3 The Fan, your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. You can always get involved with the program on the truckwreck.com text line, 877-881-1053. 877-881-1053, and that's where we got this text from the 817 who reminded me. Remember Gobert, I was about to call him Gobert. Gobert made everybody mad with the COVID stuff. Remember when he was out here playing too much? Because everybody knows that person that played too much.
He started coughing on all those reporters' microphones.
Touching everybody's microphones and
phones.
stuff. And what's funny is we still aren't actually certain if he was like patient zero, but you was out here fooling you were the last person out here fooling before we got that news. And so everybody was like, oh, okay.
And for those who don't know, they were playing in Oklahoma City and they had to they canceled the game. And then the team was held up in Oklahoma City. The Utah Jets and the Jazz were mad.
It was a tough thing. And
it was.
That really ended up being like the big thing for America to take
that's when
COVID
everybody
seriously.
The Mavericks game ended. They were playing, and by the way, Boban had like 31 points.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, was in the middle of the game. They were talking about they're going to shut down the season in the middle of the game. And Cuba's like, what? And then they had the press conference like, the world has changed.
All right, so there's that on the truckwreck.com text line, but there's also somebody who wants to get in, and they say what they got is that they're heading to Vegas tomorrow, but it's Formula One weekend. They've got actually Formula One race in Vegas, and they were like, they don't know how bad it'll be, and I was like, ooh, it might be tough because I know that it's already caused some inconveniences, the ways that, they've shut down shut down some roads there to be able to create the circuit out there.
They try to block
you
the
bridge. Know how bad it really is?
How bad is it, Rigo? You're an F1 fan, correct?
No, my girlfriend lives in Nevada.
Oh, okay. So you've got reporting experience. Yeah. What does our correspondent on the ground say?
So the correspondent basically, she's saying that the area around I think it's around the Raiders Stadium, right? Is that
right around Allegiant, which is just off of the Strip, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's right off the strip. Yeah, that area, the hotel's all booked up. Everything's just really, really congested and really bad going in that nearest freeway. I can't remember it right at the top of my head.
So shout out to you 214 heading out to Vegas. I hope that you find a way to navigate that well. But one thing I can say about Vegas, it's a tourist destination, so I imagine that they have ways to try and navigate that. But with that being said, I want to come to you, gentlemen. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Blake, what you got?
I got an interesting one for us today. So me and Rez were texting. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for What You Got, and I was throwing out some ideas. He was like, keep going. And I was listening to a podcast.
We got to get pay dirt. We're not just getting on top of it. Go all the way until we get the actual the good stuff.
He said, keep going. So I turned my podcast on as I usually do. I'm just sitting in my apartment, kind of going through, doing some stuff. And I stumbled across a podcast talking about Albert Einstein's brain. Do you know about this, CA? Let me educate you the best that I can. So Albert Einstein, we know E equals MC squared, theory of relativity, world-renowned physicist. Well, in 1955, he went to Princeton Hospital after having a brain, I believe, aneurysm. And the next day or later that day, he passed away, unfortunately. And there was this guy by the name of, I'll make sure I get his name right, Thomas Harvey, a pathologist. And if you don't know what a pathologist is, they study brain tissue and tissue cells. So they, do the autopsy report, make sure they know what's going on. Now, nowhere in here they said to do anything with the brain. Thomas Harvey takes it upon himself while doing the autopsy report. I'm going to take this brain. And he takes it out of his head.
Where?
I'll get to it. Dissects it, puts it in a jar, and leaves with it. And if you don't know, Albert Einstein said beforehand to the media, to his family, to everyone, when I die, I want my remains cremated so that people cannot exploit my brain. He knew who he was. He knew what people would do.
Oh, yeah. He said, there's brain thieves out here. Stay vigilant.
So he didn't
Stay woke.
he didn't want anyone doing that, and his family knew that. Now, I still haven't gotten to the part where how he even got out of the office with it. I don't know how he pulled that off, but somehow he got out with it. So he's got this brain in a jar. He's taking care of it. Next day, a couple days later, the son finds out, Hans, Albert Einstein's son. And he's like, kind of got my brain. There's reports going out about it. And he somehow talks the son into keeping the brain because he said he's going to do scientific research about it and he's going to be publishing it. He somehow convinced him. The son said, okay, I don't know if there was some money exchange, whatever. Keeps his dad's brain, Albert Einstein. You know how long he keeps his brain for, CA, before anyone gets there?
How long?
2 decades.
20 years.
Wow. I thought you were about to say 2 years. 20 days.
He's in Kansas, Missouri, travels all around the different states in the Midwest with this brain.
Is he like taking tourist photos with the brain? Is he like in front of Mount Rushmore with the brain?
That would be a good
in front
part
of Niagara Falls with the brain.
That would be a happy ending to the story. No, he cuts up the brain into small little pieces and puts it in a beer fridge in his basement for 2 decades. And it never really says, there was no scientific research ever published to this date from him about this brain.
He just wanted brain chunks.
He just wanted, he initially, the theory is he initially got it to do research, but he's no brain surgeon, so he didn't know what to do.
This is an elaborate way to set up a joke. I see you.
He didn't know what to do until he got it, but he had this brain for over 2 decades, and reporters finally got wind of it, of where he was, tracked him down, and he was even showing off the brain and said, hey, I got it right here. And now, to this day, it's been sent off to different museums and
chunks
research.
Of the brain, or they put the whole brain back together?
So, to this day, actually, I think they said he split it up into 28 different chunks, and then part of the brain was kept still, and different chunks were sent to different scientists that he would do for money, like black market, I guess you would say back in the day. And now, to this day, I believe the rest of his brain remnants are in a museum, I believe in Seattle or something. It's the National Science Museum, where Albert Einstein's brain lasts decades later, until I think it was 2010. So we went over 40 years of not knowing where that brain was, and still some of his brain remnants have not been found.
That's crazy. That's crazy that dude did with Albert Einstein's brain what I do with like laundry, where I'm like, I intend on doing this laundry, and then just don't do it for a week, except he did that with a human's brain.
I will add that it's said, it hasn't been fully proven, but his brain tissue was apparently a lot different than the human brain, that it was a lot larger, had different a different makeup.
Oh, so you telling me Albert Einstein was built different?
I'll show you in the break. There's a picture.
Okay.
There's a picture of it in a jar. So
I appreciate your contribution to sharing time
Yes,
today,
sir.
Blake.
Yes, sir.
That was fascinating. CA, what you got?
I got a special request from a Tolo from 2 nights ago when we first started doing this. And he asked me to do it that night, and then he asked me to do it last night, and I said, I'll wait till this night. I haven't done this since the pandemic, but I tried to tell a lot of people that the moon is not a moon.
Uh-oh, here we go. Blake, have you heard of this?
We're doing theories. I love what we're doing
not a
tonight.
theory, it's a fact.
Okay, the moon is not what?
A moon.
ISO!
It is a
not
moon.
a moon.
Prove it. Prove it. Prove me. Prove me
It
wrong.
is- I can prove it. You can Google it all up. First of all, the moons are orbiting around all the different planets in our solar system. Our quote-unquote moon doesn't look anything like those other moons. Those other moons are like baked potatoes in shape.
What if it's built different?
It is built different because it is not a moon. In other words, it doesn't fit the category of a moon.
We got the Albert Einstein brain of moons,
It's real simple. This moon is round. And guess what? Those moons that revolve around these other planets, and by the way, a lot of planets have a whole bunch of moons because they get captured in their
orbit.
gravity.
Yep.
And they float around. Like our moon not only is a lot younger than the Earth, they cannot explain where it came from, how it got here. And guess what? It doesn't revolve. Did you know there's a dark side of the moon? Because our moon just turns a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. And it also is responsible for our gravity. It is also mathematically correct. See, I'm telling you things that scares people. It's like when people find out that, guess what? The pyramids aren't tombs for pharaohs. They're actually mathematically correct. How did those pyramids get built?
Aliens. Aliens.
I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just going to tell you this. When they went to the moon, and you know those launches from NASA, nowhere, they actually crashed one of the lunar modules into the moon, and they had earthquake equipment there to see, you know, what would be the Richter scale on, right? They found out the moon is hollow. It rang like a bell. They also found out that there's water. When they brought those moon rocks back, there's water, H2O, on the moon. Not rivers, but once upon a time there had to be. So wait a minute, if there's water, that means there was some oxygen up there. It does not categorically fit into the category of a quote-unquote moon. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying I'm just saying they can't explain where it came from. They can't explain why it only turns a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. They can't explain why it's mathematically correct. I don't have those exact numbers in front of me right now in this particular segment, but there's a certain number that is in between the sun and the earth. And that's why you have these certain kind of eclipses that are amazing. But the moon is just not a moon. I can't tell you what it is, but because they don't know where it came from. I'm just saying it's not like those other moons around the other planets. That's it.
If you had to give it a name, what would you give it other than moon? Anything in the world, what would you name it? Since it's not a moon, just give me a name.
Andre.
Blake. You asked.
And that's sharing time right here on the Get Right. A very interesting version of sharing time, but sharing time nonetheless. Appreciate you gentlemen for putting in. Coming up next on the Get Right, we'll get you caught up on your headlines on the evening, including the Mavs taking down the Wizards. We'll do it next on 105 to the Fan.
DFW's #1 Cowboys podcast. 1.2 million downloads and counting. Love of the Star with top insiders Brian Broaddus and Bobby Bell on Odyssey or wherever your top podcasts are found.
I served my country honorably in the Marine Corps, and now I've been serving you for over 2 decades. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth. I met my wife on a blind date at Camp Lejeune.
progress. Well, don't just listen to me. Check this out from Steven.
I'm an incredibly picky eater, but it caused me to branch out. The other cool thing is, even if you do want to eat out, I can get on my phone, I can text Soda, and I can say, hey, what can I have? And they immediately send you a response. It's fast.
That level of personal service is why SodaWeightLoss.com has more than 8,100 Google reviews, including ones from me and Steven, with an average score of 4.9 stars out of 5. The change is available and at your fingertips by going to SotaWeightLoss.com. That's Soda. Wait for it. State of the art.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. With kids back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Make Exergen thermometer the chosen thermometer for your home or business to check for fever, where accuracy matters. When measuring temperature at home and at work, use an Exergen thermometer to keep your family and colleagues safe. Available at Walgreens and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Don't wait for Black Friday. At DFW Security, it's Black November. Get DFW Security's deal of the year on smart security with 3 cameras, installation, and phone app. DFW Security's technology is unmatched. Get it at DFWSecurity.com.
DFWSecurity.com.
Football and Miller Lite, America's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff, tailgates going way past postgame. You never forget the way some things taste. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWSecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
That's right. It's the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Datatula, Chris Arnold sitting there with me.
Got you there.
As well as the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
And Rodrigo Mendoza on the ones and twos. We appreciate you rocking with us right here on 105.3 The Fan. However you're listening, whether it be the Odyssey app, YouTube 105.3 The Fan, or Twitch.tv/DallasFanCam. We appreciate you hanging out with us. You can always get involved with the program by texting into the truckwreck.com text line, 877-881-1053. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we talk about scraps because it was NBA's fight night last night. And you know what? That made me just want to reminisce some more and find out about everybody else's favorite moments of animosity in sports. So we'll do that in about 20 minutes. But right now, we give you your headlines on the night, on this Wednesday night in November. And we begin with your Dallas Mavericks, who get a win on the road in the nation's capital against the Washington Wizards. The final score is 130-117. The leading scorer in that contest is, no, it's not Kyrie. He didn't even play. He was out with the foot injury on the second day of a back-to-back. No, it wasn't Luka Doncic, although he did drop 26 points and 10 assists, add 7 rebounds on top. It was actually Tim Hardaway Jr., 31 points on 11 of 20 shooting. Yes, 20 shots for Tim Hardaway Jr. The light was very green, 7-11 from deep. And so he was a good for a plus 17 on the team. Leading scorer for the Washington Wizards, Kyle Kuzma, 6 of 18 for 22 points. But that moves your Mavericks to 9-3 on the contest. And did we see anything else about Kyrie Irving? Because I know that Jason Kidd, the head coach of the Mavericks, said that the left foot's bothering him, but they're just not taking any chances on the night.
It's back-to-back. I mean, if it was playoffs, he'd be playing. The deal is they're just like, there's no need to, exacerbate the situation. But, again, Kyrie's got a history of injuries, just like Luka's got a history of injury, so you just don't want to take any chances. And just to give you an example how you just got to unfortunately for Mavericks, it's like when the season started, Luka's hamstring or Luka's calf, whatever. And notice he hadn't missed a game. But you have to be ready for it.
It's an 82-game season. Guys sitting out in mid-November on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, I'm not too riled up about. And
especially against a Wizards team.
Against a Wizards team. And this gives other guys a chance to get minutes. We got to see Omax Prosper tonight. We got to see a lot of Seth Curry minutes. So you get to evaluate the entire team. So everything works out.
By the way, Tim, last time he scored 30 points in a game was back in April.
Oh, didn't realize that. He's been playing very well to start this season, shooting the lights out, and obviously one of those lights is very green. That's what they're allowing him to come out and shoot like this. I mean, it can't be it can't be anything else for you to be able to get up 20 shots in a game, even if you're going well.
Right.
Getting up 20 shots means that you're just in a place where you feel very comfortable doing so. So something is working with the ways that that the I was about to say the Texas Rangers, but no, the Dallas Mavericks are going about their business right now.
9-3 now.
Derek Lively also with a real good defensive game, and then also shooting the ball 7 for 8. I think if you can get what did he have right here in this game? Derek Lively, of course,
he had 17, didn't he?
17, and then what do we got? 9 rebounds, 17-9, and missing 1 shot and playing good defense the entire game, albeit against the Wizards. They do move the ball fast, so that's the kind of guy you need. I don't want to say this is a game we lose last year, but it definitely helps having a guy like Lively can get up and down the court with a quick-paced Wizards team. So we're already seeing improvements on those quick, long, fast teams, albeit the Wizards.
Some other headlines around sports on this Wednesday night. We're continue awards night in Major League Baseball, and earlier today, we found out who won the Cy Young Awards in baseball. In the American League, it was Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees, cashing out with 30 first-place votes. In fact, he gets all of those first-place votes. He was unanimous, if I can read, winner of this. And in the NL, it's Blake Snell of the San Diego Padres.
Great name.
Free agent Blake Snell.
There you go, free agent. He's going to be out there available, and I strongly believe that he will not be the Padres. The Padres obviously have spent a lot of money, and I imagine right now they're trying to find a way to, lessen some of that payroll for themselves. So those are the guys that are currently the top guns when it comes to pitching in baseball.
Cole been doing that a long time.
He absolutely has.
Back with the Astros too.
And even you can go back to him pitching with the Pirates. He was fantastic in those
Pirates
situations. So
I think the funny thing about Snell is in mid-May, he was pretty average. I mean, looking at it right here, had a 5.5 ERA, but from there went 13-3 with a 1.18. That'll get you the Cy Young Award. As we
that's
saw,
what you want.
Guys going up and down, but how you finish the season, especially from that point, is obviously going to bode well in the voters' minds.
Now, when it comes to Major League Baseball, obviously off-season allows you to, give your awards, have conversations, and maybe tweak some of your rules. And one of those rules that could be tweaked, you know how the pitch clock has been instituted in baseball.
Everybody loves it.
We saw the way it worked, and it seemed to work out pretty well. You saw the speed of the games change, and ultimately there wasn't too much complaining. It seemed like players, for the most part, found a way to get in with it. Maybe even some of them manipulated to their advantage. Well, one of the things that is a rule is that over the course of last season, when a runner was on base, the pitcher had 20 seconds to get ready to deliver the ball.
5 extra than if there's not a runner on base, correct?
Yeah.
15 if there's no one on base?
Yes, that's correct. Well, it might be lesser now, as Jeff Passan at ESPN is reporting that the competition committee could change that from 20 seconds when there's runners on base to 18 seconds. So hoping to, reverse the late season trend that saw the average time of game kind of increase by 7 minutes. And obviously, when you get later into the season, you have maybe some more games that are, a little bit tighter, have runners on base, and then you might see that extend a little bit. So I guess what they're saying is if they can kind of trim off a little bit, they can keep that game time relatively quick.
I personally didn't mind the 20 seconds because I felt like you almost feel the intent, especially in the playoffs. You feel it. You're like, is he going to throw it? Is he going to throw it? Is he going to throw it? And
totally with you.
If he does throw it, I didn't feel that felt like a need to rush right there. I like the 20 second anticipation.
I think it added to the drama.
Yeah. It felt drunk because there's 20 seconds. That's in the back of his head. But at the same point, I love the pitch clock, the 15-20 balance. So if it goes to 18, it's not the end of the world, but I didn't mind 20.
Yeah, and that's something that they can always, reel back. But it seems like they found success in instituting it, and now they're going to try, and when I say they, I mean Major League Baseball is going to try and find a way to fine-tune it to hopefully find the best way of making this go. And I think everybody was appreciative of having faster games. Maybe some of the slower working pitchers, excluded from that. But as we continue talking about a little bit of baseball in your headlines, a big thing that we kind of talked about earlier in the week, but has new development. So we talked about Diamond Sports Group, the group that owns Bally, and the ways in which they have also come to terms, just like with the MLB, just like they did with the NBA, I might have gotten that backwards, but with both of those leagues, where They kind of assorted their deals to where they will carry,
they're trying to solve their bankruptcy.
Baseball and basketball games on those regional sports networks that they have those deals with, those teams, for this upcoming season, and then allowing those teams to get their broadcast rights back afterwards, at which point maybe they work out deals. Well, however, there was obviously still some working when it comes to the bankruptcy proceedings. And what we came down earlier today is that a U.S. federal judge approved a wind down plan for Diamond Sports, setting up a potential path to the end game for the broadcaster and its bankruptcy proceedings, which could actually end up with the Rangers getting their rights back in 2024. So before the upcoming season. And that could obviously lead to the Rangers either finding a way to broadcast games with the league or elsewhere. So, the people that have been, decrying Bally and not being able to watch their teams, there's actually a possibility where this could actually change the way that this,
upcoming season.
Yeah, this upcoming season.
As opposed to the end of the season. It might happen in March instead of all the way in October or whenever the season ends for the Rangers next year. And also, Mark Cuban has said for the Mavericks, he's just going to keep all the options on the table, and he will make his decision when the season is over.
Smart man.
So we'll ultimately see where that lands as things are going.
And the Stars, too, they got the same option at the end of their season.
I believe so, yes, because they are also clearly on Bally Sports. As we continue to give you your headlines around sports, remember we were talking about the kerfuffles, the brouhahas in the league. Well, the one that definitely teed it off was Golden State Warriors versus Minnesota Timberwolves. It was an instance less than 2 minutes
on this show.
Less than 2 minutes into the game, you have Klay Thompson, whose jersey is being grabbed by Jaden McDaniels of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He grabs back. They get into a little bit of a tussle, and then quickly thereafter, Rudy Gobert, I guess, and this has been determined afterwards, came in as a peacemaker to try and break those things up. Draymond Green did not see it as such, and he grabbed Rudy Gobert up by the neck.
Yeah.
See, I saw it a little bit differently. So it started initially with Draymond and Gobert down low. They were fighting for position. And then I believe from the angle I saw, Klay started it. Klay grabbed McDaniels tough. And McDaniels said, hey, get off me. And he held on to him, kind of pushed him.
And that's out of character for Klay.
I don't know. Clay's got kind of a hot head.
We'll break this down more.
Clay's got a little bit of a hot head.
We'll break this down more in our next segment, but I just wanted to make known that Draymond Green has been suspended by the NBA for his role in that brawl. He's going to pick up 5 games, a 5-gamer suspension. Rudy Gobert, Klay Thompson, Jaden McDaniels all got fines. Adrian Wojnarowski reports that Draymond Green will miss approximately $750,000 in that 5-game suspension. So tough work for that young man, or maybe not young, but that man in that instance.
Oh, he wanted it. He didn't care.
You think he wanted that suspension?
Put it like this. He wanted to get at Rudy Gobert. We'll get into that a little bit later.
We'll get into it.
It was worth it to him.
We mentioned earlier that Deshaun Watson is having season-ending shoulder surgery, which will allow Dorian Thompson-Robinson to start. The rookie out of UCLA will take the helm for the Cleveland Browns. But yes, Watson will miss the entire rest of the season after an MRI revealed that he had a displaced fracture to the glenoid of his throwing shoulder, and that required surgery. So he should be able to rehab and be back for the 2024 season, according to doctors. But yeah, he is done for the season, and that might put a damper on the Browns' possibility of making the playoffs.
Not if they got that boy Miles. Warrior way.
Even with the boy Miles, like, that defense is great, but you got to put up points. So
Fun fact.
You think he's going to go quarterback?
I was about to say, fun fact. In high school, if you look up highlights, Myles Garrett has played some quarterback. He knows. I'm not saying he can do that at the NFL level, but hey, man, if you got him out on the field, you got a chance.
Okay. Look, I love your belief in the hometown boy, and that he is a monster on defense.
Doesn't even look like he's got shoulder pads on. He's so big. That's just, come on, man.
He's a very large man. He's a very large human being. In college football, James Madison, are you familiar with James Madison University? Sure. They just came up to the FBS level recently, 2 years ago. And this year, just like last year, they had a fantastic record. This year, they're 10-0. And so what the NCAA has in place is when teams make that jump up, they're ineligible for postseason play for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, they can't do that New Year's Eve thing.
Exactly. And so the idea is you have that ban so that there's not schools trying to make that jump up to another level, just trying to get a money grab and then ultimately finding themselves not prepared for that level. Well, the problem is James Madison has been all the way prepared. And so they actually put in a request for a waiver. Them, also Tarleton State, shout out to Tarleton State, and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State has also played very well this year, but they all put in waiver requests, hoping that the NCAA would waive that rule and allow them to play in the postseason, because James Madison, as they're currently standing, they would have an opportunity to play in the Sun Belt Championship, which seems to be coming up. They would have a role there, and then they maybe also might be able to be that best group of 5 team that could play on a New Year's 6 game.
Dun, dun, dun.
Unfortunately for them, the NCAA continues to be no fun, as they always are.
Of course.
They let us know today that they rejected the postseason waiver request for James Madison, Jacksonville State, and Tarleton State. So unfortunately, James Madison will not be playing in the postseason this year, even though they've been a fantastic program since they've come up.
No doubt, no doubt.
Those are some headlines.
By the way, who's the most famous basketball player ever out of Jacksonville State? Go.
Out of Jacksonville State.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Dating me.
He played for the San Antonio Spurs. He was a center.
Who played at Jacksonville State?
He looked like a Chicago Bull because he played for the Bulls too.
I don't want to say the wrong answer and get roasted in the Tolo chat, so I'm going to stay quiet on this one.
Artis Gilmore.
Yeah.
Art Gilmore played at Jacksonville State. Okay. All right. I believe they are also the Gamecocks, just like South Carolina.
Yep.
So shout out to them. But yes, those are some of your headlines on this Wednesday evening on the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, because of the fight night that went on in the NBA, let's have a little fun with the fisticuffs. Discuss your favorite moments of animosity in sports. Let's get a little negative next.
The more you listen, the harder we grind. The headlines are created here on DFW Sports Station 105.3, The Fan, and the Odyssey app.
Hey, you're up next.
My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight.
Here, try these.
Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks Vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Junk for Joy is the easiest and fastest way to donate your car. Donate today and your car can be picked up tomorrow. Go to junkforjoy.org or call 1-877-JUNK4JOY.
O'Reilly! Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Arlington on West Interstate 20 next to Party City now through November 28th for the grand opening sale. You'll get 2 times O Rewards points on select purchases. Pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card after rebate. Plus, buy one, get one free Coca-Cola products right now at your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cowboys, Carolina, this Sunday. Our coverage begins at 9 a.m. with the Old 75 Beer Garden kickoff at noon on DFW's home of America's team, 105.3 The Fan.
RJ Chop here, my good friends over at Zerez. How's that carpet look? Clean? No. Environmentally safe and healthy for your home? Not a chance. Get the RJ Choppy Fan Special from Zerez right now. 3 rooms, pre-treated, clean, sanitized for $109, plus a free hallway cleaned and $50 off air duct cleaning at Zerez. It is the best carpet cleaner in the industry. No soaps, no chemicals. RJ Choppy Fan Special. 214-37-CLEAN, 214-372-5326, or ZerezDallas.com. Spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. It's Zerez.
Nothing turns game day into a great day like stocking up at Specs and cheering on the Cowboys. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Specs has everything you need to turn your pregame party into a full-on football feast. With lower prices on a stadium-sized selection of world-class wines, spirits, beers, seltzers, and gourmet foods, Specs is your one-stop shop for all your game day essentials. Cowboy up at Specs. The fun starts here.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity, and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster on campus or live online. Qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career, accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Don't miss Provember at Lowe's. Save $80 on a DeWalt combo kit and save $20 on a 5-gallon pail of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams All-Purpose Power Primer. Plus, MVP's members earn 3 times the bonus points on DeWalt and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams products. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated before tax and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 11/22, subject to change.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there. And even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate. The best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Capital One Venture X Card. Earn 10 X miles on hotels and rental cars and 5 X miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel. Plus 2 X miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Diamonds Direct's last and largest sale of the year is this weekend. Get an incredible 20% off virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets. Save an extra 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. This is the big one with an expanded selection and in-store designer appearances all weekend. Special financing too. Lowest prices of the year starting Friday. Get details and more at DiamondsDirect.com. Open this Sunday for this extraordinary once-a-year store-wide event. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
It's the Get Right on 105 through the Fan. Reginald Datatula. Chris Arnold sitting there with me.
Got you down.
As is the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Appreciate you rocking with us on 105 through the Fan, your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion, Texas Rangers. Appreciate you holding on with us. You can always get involved with the program, 877-881-1053. That's the number for the truckwreck.com text line. And you'll want to get involved here as we are talking about the fisticuffs, the brouhahas, the kerfuffles, whatever word you want to talk about fighting. Because, look, man, there is something deep within us as human beings. Yeah. When people want to smoke and they get to smoke. There's something within us as human beings that is drawn to the animosities and the
violence. He chose violence.
Yeah.
Got to stand on business.
I think that kind of caused some interest around the NBA and the in-season tournament last night, and it might have been a coincidence that it happened during the in-season tournament, or it might have been because of the in-season tournament. I don't know, but it did seem like we had 2 or 3 moments of a little bit of a.
And they were back to back, like they happened moments right. It was during our show. They were happening moments right on top. So if you didn't see, I'm sure if you have a Twitter account, you saw the Draymond, Rudy Gobert chokehold. Great pictures coming out of that, by the way. But, it started, like I said in the last week, down low, Draymond fighting for position. And then Clay is tugging onto Jaden McDaniels' jersey. Jaden didn't like it. He kind of gives him a little push. Jaden uses that momentum to throw Clay to the ground. Jerseys are ripped. And then Gobert tries to break it up. And who comes swagging, saving the day? Draymond had no problem putting Rudy Gobert in a chokehold for about 7 seconds before getting tossed off. And then a lot of people ejected. A lot of fights, fight night, NBA.
And not a point was scored at that point.
Not a point.
That was the first game, and obviously, that fight happened. Draymond Green, Jaden McDaniels of the Timberwolves, and Klay Thompson of the Warriors all get thrown out of that game at that instance. Draymond Green picks up an additional 5-game suspension, while the other 3 gentlemen pick up fines.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one instance. Fight instance number 2 happens between the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. There's a little drama there. Desmond Bane gets in the face of one of Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. Yes, TCU's own Desmond Bane, who they started getting up. They got face to face at one point. Obviously, it didn't get to a point of like swinging or any level of real contact.
Did you see how far he had to look up? It's hard to be intimidating when you're about 7 inches shorter. He's just
I don't know, man. There's some intimidating short folks. Don't get it twisted.
Desmond Bane ain't got no shoulders, no neck, nothing. Anthony Davis not worried about that. I'm telling you, he not worried about that.
He might. He
worried about different players on the Grizzlies, and his name not Desmond.
He might should be. And yeah, we did see people on social media get a little excited because I believe that that is the correlation for John Morant tweeting a couple of things, which was a smiley face emoji.
Oh yeah,
and then another tweet that simply had a bear, obviously linking to the Grizzly Bears. And people had a lot of fun with that for one reason or another. You might be able to guess. Also, when it came to the scuffles, I don't know if you guys saw this one. Also, it looked like the San Antonio Spurs had a little bit of heat when it came to what people are referring to as the Skinny Bowl between Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. But in that game, it was the other center for the San Antonio Spurs that got a little buck. Oh, y'all didn't see this at all?
I saw a screenshot of it, but they've been beefing since the preseason. But tell me about it, Reg. I didn't get a great look at it.
All right, I'll need to pull that one back up.
Go ahead, pull it up.
I'll pull that one back up to get you guys some more details.
Let me say this. Chet Holmgren, people are forgetting about him. He and Wemby are the two leaders for the Rookie of the Year. And everybody's saying, Wemby all the way. Y'all must have forgot about Chet. Chet's doing his thing too in Oklahoma City.
More efficiently too, I might add. He doesn't. He's not the number one option.
Lanky, 7'4" or more.
Chet's putting up numbers while he's got an MVP candidate on his team, so it's a lot harder to put up numbers when another guy's doing that.
Shit.
So.
Yeah, but Victor Wembanyama's got some development to do, and that team is just not nearly as good.
I like the Spurs. I like Vassell. I like Keldon Johnson, Shohan. They got a nice young core over there. But back to the fights. Talk to me.
So we had all of this spiciness going on all the way across, and what this brought me back to is, sometimes sports provides just instances where maybe dudes don't like each other or dudes cross each other for a moment, and we get moments of magic. So I just wanted to, be able to go around and find everybody's various favorites, moments of a little bit of a kerfuffle, and we'll turn to the truckrec.com text line to get to some of these. And obviously,
you talking about from last night or just period?
In general, just your favorite, your favorite moments of animosity. And of course, the one that always comes up first and foremost happened at the Palace at Auburn Hills. It's the malice at the Palace between the Pistons and the Pacers. And CA, I'm really interested in how you experienced this, because being alive and present and watching at that time, especially not having like social media, there's people that got on the phone with their homeboys, was talking about it the whole time. There's people that found out about it the next day or the next day. How did you find out about the malice at the Palace?
Talk to me, CA.
Everybody else in the league was talking about it. And then you look at the highlights on ESPN, and then I asked Rick Carlisle, who was there in the middle of it, I asked him just one day, just tell me about it. What are your thoughts? And again, Ron Artest, that's all you hear about. I highly advise anybody, just go find the streaming services carrying the documentary about the malice at the Palace.
Netflix, it was one of their untold stories. In fact, I think it was the first one that they did.
It was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was like, you got to be kidding. And it was this fan throwing. But there have been others that you didn't really hear about that didn't get the same kind of coverage, where they shut down the game and all the
or people going into the stands.
Yeah,
like one of my favorites. There we go.
Vernon Maxwell.
Vernon Maxwell went up. What was it? Probably about 10 rows.
Yeah,
10 rows and went and sat someone down.
That's because the guy was saying something. His wife had just had a miscarriage, and this guy went there. This fan went there. And I remember one time that just shifted. Charles Barkley at a bar in Phoenix threw somebody out a window. Just threw him out the window. I was going on.
Out the window.
Yeah, you know how they get the plate glass window right there, about this big window, and Barkley threw him out.
Got to throw him out like a number 2 when they put pickles on it. My favorite.
Wait, hold on. Press pause.
I'm pressing it. Boop.
You throw the whole sandwich away just because they put pickles on it?
Maybe I should have said mayo or mustard or
you
whatever.
You would throw the whole sandwich. Okay,
I wouldn't throw it away. It was a euphemism.
I just want to make sure. I just want to be clear.
But I will
just go
say,
back up to the counter and ask for another one.
See, depends if I'm in a rush. I'm probably in the drive-through. I don't got. Never mind. My favorite brawl stays home close to me because I was at this game when it happened. Was Rootin' Odor and Jose Bautista. Yeah. Sliding in a second.
That's right.
And absolutely clocking the glasses off this boy, helmet flying. That was the cleanest punch I've seen. I know there might be one that's better, but personally that I've seen in MLB, knocked him right in the jaw. Perfect right hand hook, right to Bautista. electrifying moment. Got
Rookie
benches
never
clearing.
have to buy a drink again in Arlington.
Oh yeah, he was
there
a legend.
A recent one. Jose Ramirez got Tim Anderson.
Yep.
Woo, second base.
But see, that one was
that wasn't as clean. It was not as clean.
He didn't mean to do it.
I'm just saying it was a good one.
100%.
What you mean he didn't mean to do it? He threw that punch.
He did mean to do it.
It was a loose punch. Odor knew what he was doing. Like he looks like he's been in that position before. Tim Anderson,
like a professional.
Tim, they were going back and forth, and like the third one caught him. Like I wasn't impressed.
See, now what you're doing is what I don't like about sports talk sometimes.
Let's hear it.
You're now putting down something else because of something else that's good.
We said the best. We didn't say which ones have happened. We said
who said the best?
Okay. Your favorite. Well, it's not my favorite.
That's fine. And it can not be your favorite. You didn't have to say it, but you said it wasn't as good. You said it wasn't.
It's not as good.
Well, you said it wasn't good.
I said as good.
And he caught him. He did catch him. Tim Anderson, what are you doing, my boy? By the way, Tim Anderson, obviously he was released by the White Sox, or they didn't pick up his option, something to that effect. I can't remember in this moment. He's out on the free agency trying to find his way back out. He actually announced today, or it's been found out today, that he's willing to play shortstop and second base, just as an opportunity to maybe find somewhere to catch on. That's a tough one because he had a pretty good contract there with the Chicago White Sox, and now he's basically asking for somebody to come get him. That's what getting clock can do for you. But yes, the Rougned Odor punch, like one of the cleanest right hands I've ever seen. And I'm not just talking about in baseball. One of the cleanest right hands I have ever seen.
That's what Mr. Elliott was talking about.
Right. That's what I'm confirming. I'm confirming that portion of it for sure, because I know the part that was funny, just like it was for you, was not just seeing the glasses fly off, seeing the chain, all the physics worked out just perfectly. So that chain spun all the way around his neck. That's one of the ones that you just have to watch in slow motion.
And Bautista had first opportunity.
And he was a bigger guy.
He lined him up and was cranking it up. And before he got the punch to connect, boom, on the ground. But Reg, what's your favorite? Was it X that you were talking about, or did you have a different one?
No, okay. So one of the ones that always comes to mind is actually a football one. When the mild-mannered but fantastic football player Andre Johnson had enough of Cortland Finnegan, the pesky, talk-a-lot cornerback that just would not stop jawing. And Andre Johnson, I don't know what the last word is. I don't remember. I need to go back to the oral history because there has been reporting on this. But he had just had enough, and he took that man's helmet off smooth in one motion, and the other motion was bink, bink, bink. And I was like, God bless him. God bless him. Because Cortland Finnegan had been talking for a very long time. Like, he was one of those guys that it was part of his game. He knew that he was not necessarily better than some players, but he could get in your head. And I understand the gamesmanship of that. You just got to understand when you found the right one, and he did indeed find the right one.
That is such an all-timer. I'm glad you said that, because he takes the helmet off and then just acts like they're not on a football field and just goes to town on them. And you would have thought the teammates would have got there a little quicker.
Oh, there was another one too. Back in the day, Deion Sanders and Andre Rison. Deion Sanders and Andre Rison were on the same team with the Atlanta Falcons. And then the next year, Deion was with the 49ers. And Deion came back. Deion's a cornerback. Andre Rison is a wide receiver. They stood each other just punching each other out like they were, like they were middleweights in a boxing match. It was crazy.
And it was the 12th round, and everybody's just trying to get that.
I'm trying to line it up for you so you to see this. It is the craziest thing. It's like, what? You got to be kidding me. They are going blowed. Here it is. Look at this.
And this is the crazy thing about this is the thing that Andre Johnson didn't do. They was out there in the middle of the field on the turf with helmets on trying to throw punches. I still think that's like the most maddening thing about football players. And they have to be so upset because you are just punching enamel. You are just punching this hardened shell that is made to keep that person's head safe. Andre was like, why would I hit that when I can hit your face? Why would I do that? Just let's open this up like a can of Pringles and go to work.
Came off quick. Wasted no time.
And people were shocked because they thought Deion didn't like contact.
All right, guys, you think this fits? You know what? This does fit because there's a little bit of animosity to it. Before Terrell Owens became a Cowboy, he was out here dancing on a star.
I was at that game.
And George Teague took offense.
Yep. What happened was?
He'd
done this a couple of times. Every time he scored a touchdown, he ran out into the middle of the field and stood on the star and waved his hands out like looking up to the skies, like the skies open, and the crowd's booing. The second time he did it, then Emmitt Smith did the same damn thing. Emmitt said, no, this is our house. He scored a touchdown. He runs out to the middle of the field, and he gets down on one knee like he's spiking the ball, and the crowd goes wild. Then T.O. caught another touchdown pass. He goes running out. But guess what? Teague already knew what was going to happen. They're like, not again. No. You're not going to do this again. And he tackled him. And the crowd went wild. And to this day, George Teague is known as the Defender of the Star.
That's a good title to have. Can I add one more to this?
Oh, yeah, we still got time. Let's go.
Recent, and I think, what was it, a year ago? I don't know if y'all remember the LeBron James, Isaiah Stewart scuffle. It wasn't really like they were throwing hands.
You know what this is? This is a young man.
Young man, recency. I know. I saw it coming. But it was on my head, so I had to let it go. Isaiah Stewart, bloodied up, face, literally could be an NFL running back. He ran through the entire PR, security, coaching staff, right up to LeBron. And Russ, I don't know if you remember, Russell was ready. He was posted up, ready to scrap to have a boy LeBron's back. LeBron, and I don't think he wants to get into it with Isaiah Stewart. So.
No, LeBron is a diplomat, and he understands in the NBA you can't fight anymore. And that's
Isaiah didn't care.
Right. That's the well, this is the thing. You say that. Isaiah Stewart was he was a madman, and he's the one that was like an anomaly there. Everybody else on the court was like, we can't do this.
That's one of the craziest clips of him running through the court.
But this is why I said the young man. Now, it was in some ways in a jest, but some of that is like you just not been in a time where you've seen basketball players just be fighting, which it used to happen all the time. They would just remember the time that was it Keith Van Horn that almost died? Was that the one, or am I mixing my white basketball players?
You're thinking about Rudy Tomjanovich.
Oh my God, Rudy Tomjanovich.
He got knocked out cold. And
I've seen NBA
that's when they started
compilations.
suspending people. Because the deal was, I'm trying to remember who the guy that ran up on him. It wasn't Maurice Lucas. It was another player. Rudy T was playing for the Houston Rockets, and Portland Trail Blazers were playing. And I forget who ran in. All I can tell is you could hear his head hit the floor. Everybody said it sounded like a melon. It sounded like a melon. And he had to get his total face reconstructed.
Kermit Washington.
That's who hit him.
I got him in my team on 2K. He's good. He's good. Nice interior defender.
It was so stunning because Rudy comes running up to him. It's no different than like Rudy Gobert running up trying to break a fight. Here's Rudy T running up. Kermit thought he was trying to fight him. And he turned around and just punched him, knocked him out.
Yeah, punch first, ask questions later was Kermit's mantra there. And woo boy, God bless Rudy Tomjanovich. I'm glad he was able to live. From the 9-2-8, they mentioned Aqib Talib. Remember when he snatched
Michael Crabtree's necklace.
That's right.
His chain.
This one is fun because it continues on in a way where there's always like the possibility of it popping back up. You remember when Charles Barkley was on the Rockets, when, obviously he had gone through his tenure and this is towards the back end of his career. He's playing against the Los Angeles Lakers, and Shaq kind of played too much sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I know.
He was kind of hitting at Chuck. Chuck throws the ball at his head, and then they're fighting. And those are big dudes. Those are dudes you don't want to mess with. They're rolling around on the ground. So that's the fight. However, the fun part about it for me is now we get to watch every Tuesday and Thursday on Inside the NBA, them constantly looking like they're getting this close to reenacting it every week.
And ironically, to take it full circle, last night, Shaq went behind Charles and chokehold him just like Draymond. It was funny. He reenacted the entire thing, and Chuck did, and he was laughing the whole time. Oh, by the way, the biggest superstars NBA fight, you would never believe this happened, but it did. You can YouTube it up. Dr. J fought Larry Bird.
Who won?
Where the guy? They broke him up.
Yeah, it was like
they just broke him up. It's like they were swinging and they were connecting, but it wasn't about they broke him up. You're talking about the two of the biggest names in the game. They had enough of each other.
Now, I'd be remiss if I did not mention this being in the DFW. Y'all remember that one time that Nolan Ryan took Robin Ventura?
Oh, yeah.
I do know that one.
Under his arm.
Yeah, like he cow punched him like he was in a rodeo.
Yeah, that was one, old man strength, and two, just know-how. And the thing that I still find funny to this day, because I think it was the ESPN 30 for 30 about or what was it? I can't remember exactly when. Actually, it might have been the Nolan Ryan documentary that was released a few years ago, where we found out that Robin Ventura didn't actually have any heart for that fight whatsoever. Like Robin Ventura was just the next man up when it came to those teams beefing and kind of pitches being thrown at batters. And so Robin Ventura was at the plate, and he didn't want to go fight him, but they had already determined in the dugout, next man to get hit, go get him. Yep. And he went up there half-hearted, and he found out what happens when you go into a fight half-hearted. Because
old man strength got it.
Ryan hemmed him up.
Sure did. That highlight has been, in fact, until Rugi did his thing, that was the Rangers fight highlight.
I think it's still part of the Rangers' history.
It is.
Even how they carry themselves.
It ain't gone.
Somebody mentioned OBJ in the net. That's funny.
Yes. Didn't he marry that net?
He did propose. I don't know that we saw the actual ceremony. Chris, can you give me any insight on this one from the 469? Too bad we didn't see the Staubach Longley fight.
Oh yeah, that's what happened. It happened in training camp. Okay, Clinton Longley, back in the day, won a Cowboys game by throwing a bomb on Thanksgiving, I think, and they beat the Washington Redskins or somebody. They beat it. He was like a star for a day. Well, that next summer at training camp, he's all cocky like he's somebody big. Roger Staubach whooped his ass in the locker room in training camp in Thousand Oaks, California.
Navy man.
Mm-hmm. Said, "This is my team, man."
See, you're not going to be able to hear these inside fight details unless you tune into the Get Right with CA, Reg, and Blake. Come on, man. Got all the crazy details.
What happened was.
But man, everybody loves a good fight now and then, you know? And so we're glad to bring that to you on the night after the NBA decided that they were going to kind of break the traditions and get a little bit more spicy than they typically are on the court nowadays.
You want one more from the 972? Jim Rome versus Chris Everett.
Oh, God.
It was not Chris Everett. She's a female tennis star. Jim Rome, he had a TV show at the time, and he was always calling Los Angeles Rams quarterback Jim Everett, Chris Everett, or Chrissy, because he thought he was soft and he didn't know how to win. Jim Everett showed up on the show.
That's right.
And punched him out. Fisticuffs in the chairs. It'd be like if Skip Bayless got into a fight on the set with somebody.
Well, we know who that somebody would have to be, right? I mean, we have a assumption on who that would have to be, right?
Skip, come on, Skip.
That was pretty good.
Come on, we friends now. Why you try to say I'm not a Hall of Famer? I'm not jealous of Tom Brady. I got Super Bowl rings too. Why you want to do me like that, Skip?
I think we need that for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
we got 20 left.
Go ahead and grab that one from me, Rodrigo. I appreciate that. We might come back to that in Final Call, which is next. I want to find through the fan.
Coming up Thursday morning on Sean and RJ, Babe Laufenberg previews Carolina at 8:40, plus the payload and life hacks. It's a Thursday morning with Sean and RJ right here on The Fan.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Nothing turns game day into a great day like stocking up at Specs and cheering on the Cowboys. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Specs has everything you need to turn your pregame party into a full-on football feast. With lower prices on a stadium-sized selection of world-class wines, spirits, beers, seltzers, and gourmet foods, Specs is your one-stop shop for all your game day essentials. Cowboy up at Specs. The fun starts here.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
With Black Friday savings all month long at the Home Depot, you get all the jingle bells and whistles you could wish for with LG appliances. With America's most reliable line of appliances per independent consumer study, you can take holiday doing to holiday done and always be ready to handle last-minute holiday guests. Save up to $900 on select laundry sets with Black Friday savings, including top brands like LG at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Cowboys, Panthers, pregame at 9 a.m., kickoff at noon on 105.3 The Fan. Brought to you by Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
If you turn it on and leave it on the fan, you know we're DFW sports leader on insight and original content all day long. No need to go back and search for it. We send it to you. Sign up for our fan newsletter today at 1053thefan.com. Proudly presented by Bosch Power Tools.
Imagine moving into your new home before selling your old home. For top dollar, you can with Orchard. Here's one couple's story. Moving to Texas for work, they needed to sell their old home first. Move, rent an apartment, then move into their new home. Total nightmare. But with Orchard's Move First program, they could sell their old home after moving into their new home.
Orchard sold our old home in less than a week and for way more than we thought. So we got a boat.
Buy your next home before you sell. Get a free no-obligation cash offer from Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
Up to a 30% upfront bonus and 12% per year guaranteed growth for retirement. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and these are the highest guarantees with annuities I have seen in my life. When interest rates are this high, there are silver linings, and annuity guarantees are one of them. Up to a 30% bonus upfront for retirement income. On $100,000, that's up to $42,000 guaranteed in the first year. And it's because of the economy and its high interest rates. Don't let anyone, especially another financial advisor, tell you it's not true. Up to 30% upfront just for opening an account, and up to 12% per year guaranteed income growth. Don't miss out. This won't last forever. If you have an old 401k, get up to 30% upfront and 12% guaranteed growth for income today. Call 469-579-3500. 469-579-3500.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Hi, I'm Colby, owner of Colbert Garage Door and proud partners of the Texas Outlaw Arena soccer team. Visit our website to win tickets to the home opener December 16th at Mesquite Rodeo Arena. ColbertGarageDoor.com.
Hello, I'm Jamie Flores, the managing partner at the law offices of Nick Namath, with another important tax fact. The amount the IRS claims you owe is often incorrect. They're notorious for mistakes with taxes, penalties, and interest that you don't really owe.
Hi, I'm Dallas tax attorney Nick Namath. Returns the IRS prepares for you when you haven't filed are often full of errors. For over 20 years, I've helped Texans successfully handle the IRS.
Call Nick Namath, the DFW tax attorney, at 972-484-0829 or visit myirsteam.com.
Dos Equis knows Texas A&M game day is filled with iconic traditions. The legendary Kyle Field, the 12th man, the Gig'ems, the post-game extra cheese calzone for $4 that you and your friend tackle as just $2, despite swearing every time you'll never order it again, or at least if you do order it again, you'll order with a regular human amount of cheese. Whatever your game day ritual is, make sure you're doing it with a real one. Dos Equis. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2023 Dos Equis. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Boomer Esiason is on the fan. Check out Kickoff, getting you ready for every game. Sunday mornings at 7 on the fan. Presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it. And Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. It's Boomer on 105.3 The Fan.
This segment of the Get Right is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet is racing to the finish of the year. They're leading the way with an unheard of 400 Silverados with their best Black Friday savings all month long. Shop them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads and relax and enjoy the difference.
It's the Get Right with Reggie KG on 105 Through the Fan. I guess that's not the name anymore. It's just the Get Right on 105 Through the Fan. Reginald Datatula, Chris Arnold hanging out with me on this evening, as well as the fan phenom, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me, baby. Come on.
Shout out to you. And again, appreciate Rodrigo Mendoza hanging out with us on the ones and twos. Appreciate you for listening, however you're listening. And you can always get involved, like I mentioned, on the truckwreck.com text line, 877-881-1053. From the 972 there, someone said Skip would get beat up by Troy Aikman. Obviously, he's got a long-standing reason. Although I feel like if he was going to do it, by now he would have done it, right? Like if Troy was really about that, I'm not trying to say that he's not about it, but if Troy was wanting to do that, I feel like he would have made that move already, right?
I'm just saying.
You telling Skip to keep a head on a swivel, on a swivel rather?
Yeah, he better. Bad blood right there.
It's time for the final call right here on The Fan. And today, Ron Washington was made official in Los Angeles, or I guess in Anaheim, as the new manager of the Los Angeles Angels in Anaheim. Good to see Wash back in baseball as the head man of a club. Weird seeing him in the Angels jersey. I'm not gonna lie though.
Yeah, and we're going to see him a lot because he's going to bring the team in, and they love Ron Washington. Did you hear what he said?
No, I missed it.
He actually, I don't know if you have time to find it. Lucius, you got it? Play it if you got it. Appreciate you, Rigo. Listen to this. He says something about depositing something at the bank.
Once we get things together and we get these guys together in spring training and start to work, our whole focus is going to be to run the West down. And you can take that to the bank and deposit it. So
now they roster, but they like what he said.
Hey, man, if nothing else, Ron Washington going to make them people feel good around there.
Exactly.
I was going to say the exact same thing. When he was the manager of the Rangers, you just felt like we could have the worst roster in the league, but he going to make it better somehow. And the Angels, who have been up and down, got talent all over the board, got perennial Hall of Famers and Trout and maybe Ohtani. Hopefully, he's on the move. But I think Ron can turn that team around. Love me some Ron Washington. Sad to see him on the division rival, though.
I put it like this. I'd rather see him there than replacing Dusty Baker down in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
I just could not handle that. If that would have, I would have like, oh, hell no.
That's a good point.
We can't have that. At the same time, I was like, okay, maybe why they brought him in. I don't know if y'all knew this. Last 3 World Series have been won by managers over the age of 65. And 3 different managers. It's the first time in history. 3 different guys over the age of 65 have been winning the World Series in back-to-back years. So back-to-back years. So I'm looking at the Angels, not that Ron Washington is going to bring anything like a World Series title to them, but he can be the guy that keeps Mike Trout around. In other words, just like he did with Josh Hamilton around here, Josh Hamilton used to go into the manager's office and just psychiatrist's couch, and Wash would just listen to him and give him some of that wisdom and say, it'd be all right, Josh. Maybe he'll tell that to Trout, because Trout, it's a waste of talent that he's out there on that team.
Yep. We're trying to take one of their talents and bring him over here to Dallas, Arlington, Texas, baby. But that's for another day to get into Rangers offseason moves. What you got first, Reg?
Just one more thing when it comes to baseball. Apparently, there's a report earlier today that stated that Tyler Glasnow could be available to teams that might need starting pitcher. Obviously, the right-hander plays for the Rays and was going to earn $25 million next year as part of a 2-year, $30.35 million contract. He inked with the Rays last year, or what year is it now? Look,
2023.
Look, man, we moving. Last year, yes, but that's a ace caliber player that apparently is available for trade, which is, it's good when it comes to this offseason because
a lot of aces.
But there's not that many free agency starting caliber pitchers out there, or starting pitchers at a high caliber, and so this isn't necessarily a free agent, but this is another one that might be available for teams if they are looking to get them, and maybe also might allow the Rangers to have a little bit easier access to maybe the starting pitching that they possibly are going out and trying to procure. And finally, I guess this pertains to the Cowboys in that you'll be facing the Panthers this weekend. Head coach of the Panthers, Frank Reich, is taking back play calling duties. He had previously the duties had gone to Thomas Brown, who had been previously a offensive coach for the Rams. So he's on that Sean McVay thing. Hasn't necessarily worked out all that great since he gave over play calling duties to Thomas Brown. So he's going to take him back against your Dallas Cowboys. I imagine that probably won't help him that much, though, against this Cowboys defense.
Not in the first game.
He didn't even last a month letting OC Thomas Brown call the plays, and he already took it back. So I think it's just not looking good in Carolina. Just turmoil. It doesn't help when it's turmoil within the coaching staff. So I think they can turn it around, but it's not going to happen this week.
Season.
Real quick before we go, I kind of wanted to bring you this story that I found interesting. Apparently, since the Mavericks got a win in the nation's capital, 130 to 117 against the Wizards to move to 9-3. Apparently in Washington, D.C., there is a CVS there that decided that toilet paper was something that y'all couldn't be trusted with. They've replaced all the toilet paper on their shelves with picture frames that had photos of the products because they felt like there had been too many thefts.
Oh, wow.
So
apparently lock up milk and stuff.
Yeah, but that's one thing, right? That's milk, sometimes prophylactics, those types of things.
Oh, yeah. Razors.
Toilet paper. Mm-hmm. They were like, Y'all are taking too much.
So no toilet paper is in there.
Nope.
You can ask them bring it around the back. It's a
You've
picture
got
of
just
it.
some nice frames.
You can ask them to bring you some. But it's not on the shelves.
They could have just put some pictures of some of the players that play there. I think that would have worked.
Wow, that's nasty work. Not necessarily wrong, but just nasty. What I do find hilarious about this, they've got a press button for, obviously signaling to the people that work there, and I just can't imagine how upset those employees are every time that they got to go to get somebody some toilet paper, because it's going to happen a good amount. That's kind of why CVS exists, right? Just for people to go get like quick essentials.
Yeah, quick stuff.
And so what's the point in having a store at that point?
And why is the toilet paper out of everything?
Why not just have a window, right? If I've got to come and get like the most basic of things from the back for you, we should just have a window. Pull up to the window, I'll go get it.
Drive through TP.
At this point, that's kind of what DC is working on. But that's what we got for you on this Wednesday edition of the Get Right. Appreciate you fine gentlemen for rocking with me on this evening. Chris Arnold, Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott. Appreciate you, gentlemen. Make sure, and then also I don't want to forget my guy Rodrigo Mendoza on the ones and twos. Make sure
killed it.
Make sure that you're back at 5:30 in the morning when Sean and RJ take over once more, and make sure that you Tolo. Keep it on, turn it on, leave it on for a full day of programming as we continue to get you ready for Cowboys Panthers on Sunday night. What else do I need to get off? I'm trying to remember.
Shout out
can't
my
remember.
mama.
Oh, we'll be back tomorrow. That's the thing.
You
We'll
two will be back
Myself,
tomorrow.
Blake, will be back tomorrow, 7
Tune
to
in.
11 right
Don't
here on
miss
105 through the Fan. Y'all be easy. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Welcoming new listeners to our clubhouse with open arms.